Hey guys, before we get into the show today, I wanted to let you all know that during the recording of this episode, we actually hit some issues with the microphone. So there will be times where the microphones sound a little bit echoey and a little bit far away, and we do apologize for that. It'll be totally cool. For the next episode, we got it all figured out. But as we like to say around here, it's a free show, so what are you going to do? But yeah, thank you for listening. We very much appreciate it. And now enjoy Marcus's well thought out introduction. Bye.
This episode of Designers of the Worst is accidentally brought to you by Burrito Juice. You ain't got time to eat, make your hunger run for the border, and kick your meth-like addiction to Soylent. Made from 100% of the scraps from the floor of soon-to-be-closed Taco Bell from Anytown, USA, this floor nutrient drink is here to transform the world of liquid meals on its sombrero. Domo arigato, Burrito Juice. Let's start the show.
Hello, everybody. You say Dick 3?
That's a take 3.
See, I'm just hearing things wrong tonight.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Welcome to Designers of the Worst, your new least favorite show about an exclusively individual medium brought to you in audio format. We're not doing this for the fourth time.
No, and how many of those sparkling waters have you slapped?
Oh, man. It's the PCP that'll get you. The water's fine. But yeah, my name's Matt Salick. I'm one of the talking people.
My name is Marcus Farrell, and I'm the second talking person.
And I've been doing some good talking tonight that we had to delete.
You were mentioning on Take 7 that we had a bunch of listeners. A bunch of people listening to it.
Yep. Yeah. We want to thank all of our new international friends. I think there was someone from Moldova listened, which I think is in like international waters. I'm not sure where it is. I want to know where it is because it sounds tropical. But we had 4 listens from Limerick, Ireland, which is cool. And Marcus took credit for that. Earlier we mentioned Ryan ate a potato. He should have been here. It was great.
Oh, it was
but now
hilarious.
That's deleted. And yeah. And by Ryan, I mean my wife.
Hello.
Or my child bride, which could be a boy name.
It could be.
Oh, wait, what?
8-year-old husband.
This haircut, that's what I look like right now.
Hey, don't make fun of the haircut. I know who did it. It was me. We also have another guest today. We have Miles. No last name.
Say it.
No, that is
Miles
me now.
Chick-fil-A.
Don't even know how to begin to say your last name, but I think it's pronounced Chick.
That's right.
You found it.
Hard CK.
We did it.
Yeah. Like Ryan said, like Chick Hicks from Cars 2 Tokyo Drift. That's one that Paul Walker died doing voiceover.
Oh, no.
So Ryan and our oldest kid watched Paul Walker documentary.
Yeah, it was good.
While I was playing video games the other night. You'd think they would have enough from that robust life to fill a full 90 minutes, but I think it came in at like a cool 54 minutes.
It was exactly that, yeah.
Was there anything pre-Fast and Furious?
It was all pre, because it was like, he loved the ocean. Then they would show a new family member. Man, he sure loved the ocean. It's like...
You think he would have died in the ocean.
But it's like if he had a spare dollar, he would have given it to the ocean. He was so charitable. So they were really like, he was a good guy. They didn't really touch on the movies a ton.
No, just the one guy who has never been in another movie at all.
Then they had his agent on, who's like, when the script came up, I said, Paul, this is you, baby. This is you. And it was like the only job he ever got him.
Was that in the 50s?
Yep.
That happened?
But that's what this guy sounded like. He sounded like a classic, like, sleazy agent. He's like, baby, this has got your name written all over it. Like, this is going to make Walker a star. But, which was true, which ultimately led to his death.
Get the fuck out of here, Christopher Walken. We got a Walker.
Wow.
Something.
That's very close.
If
I
you watch
wouldn't feel
What
bad
if they
about
knew
that.
each other?
after
like,
credits,
personally?
the after credits, that's what he
They
said.
could not have. But yeah, so despite the conversation we're having now, we are going to be talking about education today, which I feel that conversation wasn't a good indication that any of us have any of have any of education.
I speak good.
Fuck, I had a
I
rough
learned-
drive in, and I can't even speak. I'm so mad at all the trucks and gas stations I had to deal with today.
I listen.
See,
I listened to Learns. I learned something today, and that was I didn't know about the Brothers Bash. Was it Bash or Brothers Bash?
yeah, the new Lonely Island.
The Netflix thing.
Yeah. So out of nowhere, which I quite often, at least once a week, I tend to listen to a Lonely Island track just
Yep.
to
That's
bring some joy into
just get
my-
back to normal.
Get your giggles
normal
up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I saw a new
It's
album
great
and
for
was
sex, he
like,
says.
"Oh, what is this?" And then I saw the Netflix logo, and I immediately went over there. The movie's only like half an hour, but it's if Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco put out a rap album in
Yeah.
'88, I think it was, and I didn't know that they played on the same team. at
They're
the
both
time.
wearing the Oakland A's uniform
Yeah,
in
but
the Andy Sandberg and Akiva
Yes.
photo,
Yes.
which
Akiva as Mark McGuire too, which is a stretch, but
yeah, he's
but,
a
yeah,
he's
he
a
got
lanky
there.
dude. He doesn't
Yeah.
have the steroid
heft.
bulk,
Yeah.
and Sandberg doesn't have the cocaine intensity that Jose
Right.
Canseco did.
or the gigantic head size.
Yeah.
But I learned that they played on the same team together, and that's the end of that story.
Good. That's,
And
I think that's
full-
what they call a
full album.
fact.
Not so much a story.
Is that what that is?
That's the end of that fact.
That's a truth note.
Yeah.
It's a truther.
But Ryan sent me a link yesterday morning. It said that there's a Lonely Island thing on like AV Club. It's like they're going to be dropping
Visual poem.
a visual rap poem or whatever on Netflix
Right.
at midnight. So
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like Lemonade would sort of, or no, Lemonade?
Beyonce?
Yeah.
the drink?
That's like a visual poem. Also the drink. Great drink.
I've never heard or seen Lemonade. Isn't it about Jay-Z doing ladies?
No, I don't.
The-
Yes,
actually,
it
yes.
is.
Actually,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Probably mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that guy loved doing ladies.
But I believe she referred to that as a visual, some sort of visual poem or something like that as well.
oh, well,
Thank you, Beyonce.
that's
Great-
why
great term.
everybody overreacts to anything she does. She's great.
Queen Bey.
Queen
Nope.
Bey.
Can't
Maybe
say that.
wasn't the album an entire video though too? Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Oh, the album was called Lemonade?
Yes.
Ah,
I
There
guess
was
so.
an album too.
if it's not a Noah Effects or a Tom Waits album, I got nothing.
That is out.
I stopped progressing in 1984. Speaking of progressing, let's progress further into the show with
Man,
more talking.
Check out that segue.
Sorry, Scooter just went by the window and Marcus got distracted.
It was actually a potato, but
Riding a Segway. It just has to lean forward.
it could happen.
Speaking of things that are out the window, the reason that you don't hear seagulls today is because we closed the window and it's hot as hell in here. So we're going to be taking multiple breaks and opening the window and walking around. But
Yeah.
when I was editing that episode last week, it sounded like we recorded it down at the docks. That was pretty all right.
We could have said we were on location. Actually, you know what? Shit, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
We're on location on a boat.
Yep, we are now.
Another Lonely Island
That you
reference.
can't hear seagulls.
It's an audio
We're just
medium.
inside the boat now. The captain's closed the hull. Is that what you do?
No, that's
right.
incorrect.
Anyway, what's been going on since last time? Marcus, I'm talking to you.
Oh,
I just realized people can't see me look at you or lick at you.
not from there.
Matt's standing up right now.
Yep.
And he's just
My
towering.
strap-on
which-
microphone stand.
Which take was the Batman 69 in? Was that?
I don't
That was
think we
gone.
were
That's
recording.
gone.
That was
wasn't it?
low teens.
God damn it.
Yeah.
That was a real good goof.
Well, I take full responsibility and
I was over in Vancouver for the long weekend. Well, for some of it. That place is expensive.
yep. Ryan and I just went there a few weeks ago for a few days.
It didn't feel expensive to me.
Was anytime you stop and have like a couple beer and like a snack, it's like $70.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
it
guess
just
so.
immediately hurts at the ferry terminal when they say it's $91.
Oh, we never
Oh.
drive on.
We had the dog, so it happens.
Yeah.
But from there, it just goes downhill. But Vancouver's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived there for many years, and then going back to it now, it's like unrecognizable to me. It's crazy. Main and Broadway is is just insane. Huge towers everywhere. Yeah, it's brutal.
I just read an article about how with that new speculation tax, which we know a lot about. The rent is getting way cheaper in Vancouver, so it might actually end up being more affordable to live in Vancouver than Victoria.
That's
pretty
worth
soon.
shit.
I don't want to hear that.
Well, there was there was an article on a paper somewhere. Bloomberg.
Is that
on,
a paper?
on a paper?
Just on a
It
paper.
was on it?
It was an online paper about for people to avoid the speculation
Called it
tax.
a digipap.
They would list their place for like $100 or like under $1,000 for a mansion, just to avoid a tax.
Yes, that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So they're renting out these huge mansions to just like a couple students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
For those of you who don't know, we have a speculation tax in British Columbia to state that if you are not the primary, or if that place is not your primary residence, then you have to pay tax.
Yeah.
But
Or if
assuming
you're not
that
renting.
assuming that people don't listen to the show for hot tax news, I think we all know what the
We're not,
speculation tax
we're
is.
not talking about tax the whole time today?
Taxes are the worst, more like. Am I right? Yeah, Vancouver's fun. There's lots of stuff to do, and it's live music and all that. Like where we live in Victoria, it's a ferry ride away for any decent band to come here, and no bands want to come here. They just do 2 nights in Vancouver.
Yeah, scratch that. Carly Rae, is it Jepsen?
Jepsen.
I'm going to that, baby.
Is coming to Victoria
Oh, yeah.
on her
Just to visit?
Canadian tour. I don't know.
September at the
saw that.
McPherson, I want to say, or the Royal, is it?
Either one of our
Yeah.
glorious theaters. Yeah.
Yes.
Glorious, yeah. And I saw Jim
Definitely.
Jeffries is coming, already selling tickets for like his November show. If you enjoy
That's-
stand-up comedy,
That's Avon
and-
again?
yeah,
You went to that, didn't you?
We
that
did.
was
That was fun.
That was so good. It was like well over an hour, and it was the whole thing was just it's his newest special on Netflix now, but yeah, it was like all killer. It was really really good. And if you want to see a grown man yell cunt at a bunch of polite Canadians, go see Jim Jeffries in Victoria in November.
I really don't.
It's pretty good.
It was pretty funny. A guy threw up right in front of us, and then
Oh, we sat down
Because
and
he
there's
enjoyed the show so much?
no,
he was
it-
drunk.
He was
yes,
pre-showing
that too.
pretty hard with his dad in whatever car they were sleeping in, and then he was just this huge fat guy, and he was just like leaning forward and rocking back and forth, and Ryan and I were looking at him like, oh, dude, like
He's gonna
pull
fall.
together, pull together. Then you just hear, "Huh," and then just big like splat on the ground, and his dad just looks over and he's like holding 2 beer. He's like, and just keeps drinking beer. Not once being like, hey, dude, you should get up and clean up your puke. He's
My
like,
own
"Oh,
son. Yeah.
I guess now I got 2 beers.
No, the kid ended up leaving, and the dad just stayed. He didn't follow
Yeah.
him or anything. Yeah. But the
Yeah.
other funny thing that happened was Jim Jeffries kicked a heckler out, but I can't remember the setup for that.
Oh, because Jim Jeffries. Anyway, Jim Jeffries was talking about how foreskin's weird or something. Oh no, it's weird that I don't know something about it.
It's the
A
weirdest Seinfeld joke I've ever heard.
dude, what's the deal with Mountain Dew and foreskin? And some guy, whatever Jim Jeffries was saying, was the opposite of what this guy's penis must have looked like. And he had beer bravery, and he actually wrote Jim Jeffries like a personal note, and just like slapped it on the stage. And then Jim Jeffries just kicked it off and just screamed security, like, get this guy the fuck out of here.
It's pretty great.
and then he yelled like for 5 minutes after he left. And then he just went right back into the story he was telling. It was great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. You all should have been there.
yeah.
And taxes and personal stand-up comedy experiences. This is very, it's good listening.
I want to know just about this guy writing this letter. I'm going to let this go. But
Yeah.
anyways.
He didn't pick it up and read it to the crowd. He just kicked it off the stage and said, fuck off. So somebody in the front row could have just grabbed it and read it. But I'm sure it was
so
more
personal.
like, I'm sure it was along the lines of like, dude, you don't know my dick. I got a sweet dick.
Or like,
And then
I love you.
it could have been like, oh, I'll show you backstage. But Jim Jeffries was not having it.
No.
Anyway, what else has been going on with everybody? Hey, let's talk about everybody's work week. Mine was so far one day because we had a long weekend and we took the last 2 days off. So tomorrow's my Friday and it's actual Friday. In recording time when you're listening to this, tomorrow will be Friday because we release on Thursday. Never mind.
Well, you just went on a little
Holy
journey in your head
Jesus
there.
Christ.
Very long day.
It's like Quantum Leap over there.
Yeah.
You saying I'm like Dean Stockwell?
I'm saying you like a lot of things.
He's kind of a Dean Stockwell type.
Yeah, like,
Sort of like
not a Bacula.
Not a
but
Bacula.
like
Oh.
his time traveling Sherpa.
What was the other time traveling show with Gimli?
Sliders.
Yeah, that was good.
What's a Gimli?
Definitely.
Oh God, what's his name?
I want to say Jonathan Rhys-Davies. No, or Myers. One of the two. They look very different visually, but
He played.
the
He was Indiana Jones's like big burly
Yes.
guy helper who wore the fez hat,
Oh, he was in like the Untouchables TV series.
but he was
Yeah.
Gimli.
He was
in
like a
Lord of the Rings.
big guy kind of be like, ha ha, all the time.
Oh, and
yeah.
he could never like. He had the most pubic beard of any like famous person.
Right.
It wasn't filled in. It was
Right.
super curly,
Yeah.
but he had it forever.
My partner would argue that.
She has the most pubic beard.
Yeah, I
point of
took
pride.
I took an extra day off as well, and so this week's been wonderful and short.
Yeah.
I also had a short week, but it didn't feel wonderful. It definitely felt like a Monday, even though it was a Thursday for me at the office.
Is that because of Miles?
It was mostly because of Miles. He's a real pain in the ass
Oh,
to work
man,
with.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, I just have a lot of opinions, and
That's not
overt-
true, but it's not bad.
The overt racism, the office drinking, and the
Yeah.
womanizing.
you know,
Hey, sweetness. Come here.
He's always doing a Scott Bakula impression.
But he calls it ska-bacula, and he does like reggae songs.
No,
Who wants to
he has a
time
checkered
travel
necktie.
to a much better time?
We be leaping quantum. We have a good time.
What was it like in the office while I wasn't there, Miles?
It was fine. It was busy. Yeah,
It's always busy.
yep.
Yeah.
It was a normal week for me. Yeah. What can I say? I was out there doing my thing
There you
on
go.
the edge, living on the edge.
I think that's code for shitty.
Oh.
Usually, yeah, we're just
Not shitty.
Doing
actually
my
good.
thing,
It was
yeah.
my birthday yesterday. I had to think too long there. It was good. So that was kind of fun midweek. Did that. Went out for dinner with my partner. Went to Nowhere, which is a restaurant here in Victoria, which is really good.
It's the same guys
Free
who own.
advertising for Nowhere.
What's his other restaurant? Is it Frank?
Hanks.
Hanks.
Yeah. Super good.
The
Really good.
burger place?
Nowhere is like kind of like a fine dining.
No, sorry,
type place.
Hanks.
I think that's also a fine dining.
No, but what's the burger place?
McDonald's.
Yeah, it's McDonald's.
Are you thinking of Johnny Rockets?
No, the one that replaced Famous Original.
Oh yeah.
Chuck's.
Fuck. You know what? This town's dumb.
So
Too many names. Of
shout
things.
out
Too many first
to
names.
Limerick, Ireland, who gets all of these references, and our one listener in Moldova is going, "What the
So,
fuck? Is,
this
what's
one.
a burger?"
Oh,
Yeah, I
here.
love hearing about hyper localized regional.
I'll reel them
restaurants.
back. When I was the one time in Dublin, there was a Tim Hortons there, and it was confusing. And there was also a big billboard saying advertising to come work in Canada, and I didn't get it. It was weird. It's like I work there. Why am I seeing this? So I went and had a beer. Story end.
Yeah, so we got everybody back.
See, reeled it back.
Yeah. Speaking about working and things that happen at work with like clients and just little fuck ups and big fuck ups and how people can blow stuff out of proportion, there's an article where in the UK, and this was May 16th, a customer and their dining partner, whatever, they ordered like a $300 bottle of wine, and the wait staff went and got what they thought was the $300 bottle of wine, but they grabbed a $6,000 bottle of wine, and they served it to them, and they're like, "Oh, good wine," and whatever, and they got the bill, and it was, $650 more than they were expecting. They're like, "What is this extra charge that is huge?" And they said, "Oh, you had the $6,000 bottle of wine." And they said, "No, I didn't. I had the $300 bottle of wine," which is a huge screw up in a restaurant. But the way the manager handled it, or like the restaurant itself, like the manager posted on the restaurant's behalf, I'm quoting, "To the customer who accidentally got given a bottle of Chateau Le Pin Pomerol 2001, which is $6,000 on our menu last night. Hope you enjoyed your evening. To the member of the staff who accidentally gave it away, chin up. One-off mistakes happen, and we love you anyway." And then they posted a photo, and we'll put this up on our website at Worst Design Show too. He says, "They look pretty similar, okay? And they look nothing alike at all."
No, Matt has. We have the picture up here, and visually, there's very little similarity.
Yeah.
If there was no words on it, I could have some sympathy. But when there's full on words,
Yeah.
The color difference in the neck cover thingy.
But you just have to assume the person that screwed up had no idea about wine. It was like, yeah, one of these words starts with a P. This is what they want, and brought it out. But my thought was like, how cool of the restaurant, because they could have. It was like a story already, and they could have like just like the staff has been talked to, and this has been corrected, or it won't happen again. But they just played it off like, hey, mistakes happen, everyth's cool, and that so rarely happens, even with like a $5 error or like a $500 error. That is an honest one, but clients can really blow shit out of proportion.
I have a story that's really similar to this, actually. I was at the Arbor in Vancouver on the weekend, which is it's like a vegetarian or vegan place, sort of. And I ordered the happy hour beers, and I had a couple. And then when I got the bill, they had it listed as happy hour wine.
Yeah.
And it was $2 more. I said, hey, I didn't drink white wine. I didn't have a couple glasses. So it's totally similar. With
It's nearly identical.
6,000 to 300.
Yeah, it's shocking. How small it is.
$2.
Yeah.
It's
$6,000, $4.
totally the same.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's nice to see empathy in any form
Yeah.
in a public discourse like this. So it's really, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing, like tying into the topic of education that we're going to be getting into in a little bit, is
Being able to-
project manager education or manager education, and how screw ups do happen.
I thought you were going to say how to read.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which
I'm still sleeping on that one, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't learned yet. It's
Well,
on my list.
a lot of it's audio now. Like, hey, you can just, if you want to know something, we can read it on the show, and you can listen to it when it's released.
Yeah, exactly.
Done and done.
I mean,
It's your own impersonal audiobook farm. Marcus reads Mein Kampf again. But yeah, so the education thing about, like, where's the education to like make situations like that okay? Because people tend to freak out, and clients, they can freak out because that's, it's their money and all that. But the ability to learn how to work with people, I think, is I've seen that missing in some project managers' repertoire, and nobody screws up on purpose, and they want to correct it as soon as they discover that there's an error. So like getting yelled at about it by another adult, it's like I could go and just like slash all of your tires and nothing will really happen. Like, we're just grown up, so don't yell at me and I won't mess with you, and just like accept there's been a screw up and try and figure out how it happened and how it won't happen again, and just move on. But I feel some people take it too personally.
I gave a talk at my office to like 5 people about empathy. And
So you spoke to people at work then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
About empathy.
I gave
I don't have it.
I gave a Todd talk. Smaller versions of the TED. As being just empathetic and seeing it from the other point of view. And a lot of it was covering that stuff, like fuck ups happen.
Yeah.
It's like either it's like, well, it's too late, it's already happened, to just move on from it, or just understand, like, would you care to be yelled at for an honest mistake? It's like, no.
Yeah, and don't hide it. Just like raise a hand, like, screwed up.
Yeah.
I fixed it already. If I need to do anything with the client to like apologize and and pray for mercy, I'll do that. But we probably just move on. Like, most clients don't even know there's a screw up before it's fixed. So
Yeah.
it's pretty mellow. The expectation that clients are always looking at their websites, for instance, is wrong.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah. So
oh boy, I don't know about that one. Sometimes.
well, when it's like
sometimes
about to
wrong,
launch or
sometimes.
something,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
They're looking at it, but they're not the user.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to relay this information to a client after presenting a bunch of stuff. I told the person, I said, just remember, the site is not for you. It's for your
Yeah.
user.
Yeah.
And they went, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not the one who should be considering this.
I would say that's such a huge problem that like is. I faced that just today where I was presenting some creative, and yeah, it's not for you. It's for a totally different group of people who have none of the same needs, wants, or desires or likes that you do. So maybe just try to not hammer it with your sort of personal touch.
People have a really hard time disconnecting themselves from their own product.
Especially when creative is concerned as well.
You bet. I have gone through a few of those recently where presenting a new branding idea, a new concept, and it's too far from what they currently have, and they're too emotionally attached to it, and so it's hard to get them to kind of break free from that and to realize it's, at some point you have to let go and just let somebody else have their vision.
It's a delicate balance, though, because you can go too far the other way. Like, I've definitely had some experiences on projects where we've pushed back with the client a lot, only to reach the end of the project, and they're just not happy, and they want everything kind of reverted back to how they started.
Yeah.
So that's difficult to
They
know the
usually
right amount to push.
Safer with baby steps over like the correct leap to make them, future-proof for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and one thing that I didn't learn until a few years into designing was when people say we want a new logo and you start making it, be like, whoa, like, why?
Yeah.
And do people recognize the logo you have now? And like, I need to do research. We need to ask some of your customers, some of your users, like, would you recognize our logo if it passed by you on a bus? Like, do you care about this logo at all? Because a lot of people don't consider brand equity when it's more interesting to jump into a new idea. Be like, I'm going to make this so cool. It's like, whoa, what if it shouldn't be cool? What if it should just be incrementally better than it is? I mean, we had a client years ago with Bully, our old company, and one of their primary clients, and it was a multi-million-dollar business, and they sold oven parts. That was the whole thing. So the company we were working with, if they looked cool, then their oven part company would be like, whoa, like, you guys have really changed. You guys used to be like, cool with us because we make oven parts and we are your biggest client. Like, not everybody needs a big splashy thing. And at the end of the day, for me, the client is Ryan's heard me say this like 5,000 times. But the client is really the biggest cheerleader that brand will ever have. So ensuring that they're really stoked on the product is, as well as serving their clients, then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? It's not exactly what I would have wanted for them, but they're in love with it. Yeah. And the changes that I granted, which is, it sounds arrogant when we say it like that, but like the changes that I said, yeah, okay, we can do that. Their clients may not have even noticed a difference. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, who the hell is this even for? And then if it's more for the client, then cool. Like, if they have a little ice cream shop and they want to look like the cool place and do that. If they have a big client base that doesn't really like change, then just make it a little cleaner and more mellow and all that. I mean, it's hard to not make something as cool as it could be, but if you want to get paid, just do the correct thing, not the cool thing.
Yes. But sometimes you end up going down a different path.
Yep.
To try to move things forward, and then they pull it back. You're like, okay, that's fine.
Yep.
And you have to move on from it and not be butthurt.
Yep. And that is all part of #Graphic Designer Life, which is a segment now. I looked for more racist tweets about designers on oddly on Twitter.
Racist tweets about designers.
Yeah, we that was the last show. We used to type in "designers are the worst" as like all separate words into Twitter and search, and I did that before the last show, and I got 4 pages down, like, of scrolling, and there was one racist, homophobic guy watching like an interior design show, and one part of it was like, I don't know what, and it was like at Bruce Jake or something. Go back and listen to episode 12 or whatever it was, but he said, like, I don't know what's worse, like designers or gays or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real rough. And I looked at all of his tweets, and like, it's just screens of him watching reality TV and being as hateful in every tweet as he was in that one. So that was eye-opening.
He's just clutching, like years earlier, he's just crying in the rain, clutching his design portfolio, and no one would hire him, and he's just forever.
He's really turned that shit into lemonade. Speaking of lemonade, I don't know if that was one of the segments we deleted. We talked about Beyonce.
I think that was this one. I think
all
we're
right.
okay.
Deleted Batman.
So
kept Beyonce.
So this is now we're switching to Instagram.
So I stumbled across a hashtag called Graphic Designer Life.
Did you find it to have a lot of tags or posts with that
something
tag?
like 900,000.
Great.
So the first one is by Agency 53, And it's a photo of a chalkboard with a question of the day. And also go to worstdesignshow.com and look at that episode, each of them for all these Instagram posts and images and stuff we talk about. Because we realize that you should be looking at some of this stuff to find it real funny. So Agency 53 says, ever just sit and ask yourself about the wonders of life and nature? If not, you can thank Jenya, our senior digital specialist, for reminding us to stay curious with hashtag Jenya's questions. This week, she asked, does thinner air mean you can see farther? Hashtag graphic designer life.
What's hold on.
There's a lot to unpack here.
What's the next photo in this slide?
It's a video of her doing that beautiful typography in chalk.
Is that Jenya?
Oh,
Got some trap music there with the Twilight
yeah.
theme.
Which I don't think is going to come through.
It might not.
No.
But
So-
I'm working on that this weekend. But yeah, so does thinner air mean you can see farther? Hashtag
Like with-
graphic
with-
designer life.
Like over the horizon or with your own human eyes? Like
Well, she did a crude.
but,
It looks pretty
Binoculars.
phallic looking.
levitating binoculars.
So yeah, that's just what it's like to be a graphic designer.
Should we try and answer that?
Proportion.
Yeah. I think Jenya's
Jenya.
may have suffered some kind of head injury recently,
I'm
and they're
gonna-
just being kind to her.
I'm gonna go out on a uneducated limb here. See, bringing it back.
Reel it back. We got
And
you,
say no.
All right, asked and answered. Thank you, Jenya.
And the reason
And
why
Agency
is
53.
because when the air is thinner, you're up higher. There's less pollution, so technically, and there's less clouds. You can technically see further. But what does she define as further? See, this is, you know what?
But
Moving
it's making
on.
you think.
It's
Thinner
making me think
air.
about how dumb the question is and not clear.
But it's funny because the more you answered it, the dumber you sounded.
Oh yeah, you bet.
Right.
If I kept going for another 5 minutes, it would have just come back to seagulls.
Yeah, and barbecue.
Oh god.
All right. So this one,
I love this.
It's a very MS Paint style drawing of Ned Flanders from the television program The Simpson Family, and by Youssef Mad _photography. So yeah, it's a drawing kind of Ned Flanders wearing, well, he has a halo. He's wearing a sweatshirt. It says Jesus, and it looks like Helvetica or something. He's kind of crudely arranged letters. Has a Nike logo. Is that facing the right way?
No, I think it's facing opposite.
Maybe.
No, I think that is
Yeah,
right.
it feels right, but it looks wrong. And then cleverly, you can see Ned Flanders' shadow is actually him as the devil. So this, of course, sparks the thought: overthinking leads to negative thoughts. Hashtag graphic design grow life. Okay, chomp chewy chomp. So yeah,
That's a lot of hashtags on that post.
is.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
really going for it with the hashtags on this post, for sure.
Graphic design
Oh.
Malaysia.
last one is Simpsons.
Hashtag Simpsons. Love
Shout out.
I like Dollar Grill. You've done an amazing work.
You know, just the one. And amazing work.
You've done an amazing work, and then we have
Point up, thumbs up, wink.
Senior UI UX, a fellow designer, has
well,
given him some kudos.
at Senior UI UX. If you're listening, call into the show. We have no capability to take a phone call, but we welcome your thoughts.
And we are waiting.
So yeah, Youssef Mad _photography, we salute you. That is upsetting. Now this one was my favorite because it's has nothing to do with design at all. It has less to do with design than the air thinness question. So by Kendall Christopher, Kendall with about 11 L's, it says Happy Friday. Oh, it's a photo of her with a glass of wine.
Well, hold on. Birmingham, Michigan. I'll be damned. There's a Birmingham, Michigan? I thought that was only a city in the UK.
It's the jewel of Michigan.
Birmingham. Well, tell that to New York.
Oh, New York, London?
It's the new one. The old one's in England, I think.
This is great.
Yeah. So Kendall with 45 L's Christopher says, Happy Friday. Looking forward to this glass of wine as I'm sitting at work staring at Photoshop, trying to load LOL. I may be a health coach, but I still love me some wine because balance. Now that's not all. There's way more. In my nutrition program, I'm learning all about balance and how to fuel my body properly while not restricting myself and enjoying some wine if I want. I mean, this is a damn lifestyle, not a quick fix or some body wrap or something.
I get that one.
Yeah,
I get that reference.
A little bit more. For all you that know
Still
me,
going.
should know that I wouldn't talk with you guys about this health stuff unless I truly wholeheartedly believed in it and do it myself. So if you're interested in learning more about your own nutrition, or if you just want to stop making excuses and start making healthier choices, let me know. I'd love for you to join me. Hearts and party confetti shooter.
Is she trying to sell something?
Yeah, this is like a multi-level
Yeah.
marketing.
I don't go in
campaign.
beyond this level, except for that racist guy. So this has I can't say that.
This has hashtags.
Hashtag Birmingham. Graphic designer life.
Wait, scroll down. Scroll down a bit. Oh, there it is.
Hashtag happy Friday, y'all.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
She
Balance
me-
is key. Oh, 5 o'clock somewhere.
She
Okay.
mentioned Photoshop.
Yeah,
She's
that's,
waiting for
about
it to
it?
load.
that's the tie to.
Yeah.
That's the link for sure to design.
So, happy Friday. Yeah. So those are fun.
I also drink when I'm waiting for Photoshop to load.
Yeah.
Sure, you got to.
But I have
yeah.
a fast computer, so I don't get anything.
You just take.
I take
a
shots.
really
Just
fast
shots.
sip.
I do shots, yeah.
Just butt chug and then move on.
Yeah,
I can
as we
still
all
type.
do.
So yeah,
People still do that? Butt chug?
Has anyone
On-
ever done that?
Yes.
on King of the Road.
That's really-
Jackass,
that was a
yeah.
staple.
Really?
Yeah, butt chug. There was a thing in university I remember reading on a Vice at one point. And then,
Yeah.
wasn't there one where
Check out how cool this is.
Jackass too.
If people were doing it with vodka in the States and kids were dying.
No, it wasn't. Well, it was vodka, but they're also doing it that box wine Franzia, and they called it a Tour de Franzia.
but weren't
And like frat boys were dropping, like, I guess frat boys, because they do stupid stuff. But yeah,
weren't there some other
chugs are
frat
alive.
boys
Wow, butt
who were soaking tampons
Tampons.
in alcohol and then shoving it up their butts?
Yes.
yep. And I think Miles just gave us the episode title, which is "Wow, butt chugging." Well, we'll see what other jewels we unearth during the rest of this recording. But I do like that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Jackass 2. Watch Steve-O butt chug on the deck. Now, the last Instagram treasure that I have to share today is an account I accidentally stumbled upon today called, it's at Designers Humor. See, they have like a smiley head in the avatar, and it's in Comic Sans, which is the most hilarious font you can use.
That's to let you know that they're funny. They have a sense of humor, and they want to share it with
It's
you.
like, don't worry, I know this is bad.
Yeah.
But the rest of everything I do is great. Like the design school versus day one on the job, with one hamster giving a peace sign and the other one looks terrified.
You gotta know I love that one though. Look at his little fingers.
Yeah, but what happened to your hamster's fingers?
Oh, he chewed them off because he was
Yeah.
trying to escape.
So doesn't
Cool.
always end well.
No.
God, that's awesome.
So yeah, check out
You know,
at Designers Humor if you want to dislike what we do for a living.
I like that one up at the top there. Designers don't retire, we die.
Yeah, that's a quote from Jeffrey Zeldman. He was
The Hobbit of the web.
he's the Pew Beard of the web. He used to write good books. I haven't seen anything good from him for a little while.
You know, I've noticed about a lot of these accounts is, and anything I've stumbled across recently is a lot of people still use Photoshop, like for the majority of their work.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I recently had to convert a Photoshop file. No, I had to open a Photoshop file and change some colors on some stuff. And it's like, wow, people still design sites in Photoshop.
Oof.
That's a thing.
Yeah. I
If you're
lo-
listening out there, just don't do it.
No,
just do
never.
it. Use anything else of the 1,000 prototyping tools there are out there. Just
Yeah.
don't use Photoshop, please.
or
This
but
is a
don't use
personal plea.
Also, don't use Illustrator, because I got a full site design in Illustrator last year. It was just the absolute worst thing. Like Photoshop, actually, that's not even good. No, it's all bad. Just use a regular thing like Sketch or Figma or whatever tools are made for the job. You wouldn't use a cucumber to hammer a nail in to your coffin.
Though
Jeffrey Zeldman.
I'd like to see it.
Yep. So yeah, that ends our look at Matt found on Instagram segment, which is a favorite to me.
Are we going to call that segment attempt?
I think success.
Yeah.
Landed.
We'll
Both feet.
give it our own rating. Don't you tell us what the fucking rating you want. We'll tell you the
Yeah.
rating. Then
Now Marcus is standing
I don't
up.
care
We'll-
where in Limerick you fucking live.
we'll decide if we bring it back or not based on our own rating, not yours.
Unless you say you don't like it, then we probably won't do it again.
Do we have a caller? right now?
Yeah.
Let's take it.
At Senior UI UX.
Wonderful.
He's here.
Oh, wait. It's Spanish. It's Senor. Sorry.
Mr.
Hanging out.
UI
It's
UX.
got the surfer wave above it. Because he's like, I'm hanging 10. I'm a senior.
What?
What?
Is that a Spanish thing?
No, never mind.
All right. If you made it through that, you'll love the rest because it'll probably be much better. So we'll see you in a minute. Bye. Welcome back, everybody. Not another false start just happened. It doesn't mean 5 screw-ups on my part that have caused us to restart.
No. What are you reading this time?
Bible.
The screenplay, though.
Yep.
Nice.
It's Passion of the Christ, the Breadline trailer.
So we got these brand new high-quality mic skins.
Condoms.
Condoms.
Yeah, we used to have these big, it kind of looked like a lacrosse goalie's mask in front of the microphones when we were talking, and we kind of had to play peekaboo with each other to maintain eye contact. In retrospect, it was a bad purchase,
But
and they were...
I mean, it worked.
It worked fine, but now we have it's like you skinned part of Kermit the Frog, and
But I just realized that mine kind of smells like cigarettes.
No.
kind of or really does.
It kind of does.
Well,
Like, it smells like the person who was making it was just huffing away and breathing it into it. Maybe this was their filter.
What would that factory be like?
very flammable.
Probably not.
I say all we make
On
is
the
foam,
map.
and we all smoke.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, we haven't been that successful, but
No, and maybe they could use some education. Welcome back. Today we're talking about design education. We wanted to talk about it because I have no education, and I'm curious. Really, this is an excuse to play Jeopardy later, Design Jeopardy. But
Well,
then
you have
then
no design education, not just no education.
I have very little education and no design education.
No, you went to design school, kind of.
Well,
In the
no.
field.
All right, we'll talk about our histories. Thank you for jumping ahead. But yeah, so I was curious about different people from different educational backgrounds doing the same job, because it's not like we're electricians or anything where we need like certifications and we have to be a journeyman and we have to do like the whole, like the apprenticeship, the whole thing to actually get to a spot where we can be a legitimate electrician. We can just get a laptop and say, woo, like fucking do whatever. Or you can go to school, or you can be mentored or whatever.
It's the same with photography, too.
Yeah, photography.
Yeah.
And digital cameras have created a whole slew of quote-unquote photographers who can slap on a 50 mil lens and go take some photos and be like, I'm a photographer now.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating talks I had ever been to. Ryan was there too. We were at a Graphic Designers of Canada event. I think episode 3 had Emirates Damon Miller, who was the Vancouver Island president at the time.
Yeah.
It was one of the events, and Emirates put on a bunch, and we always went to them because they were kind of fun, and we would get in for free. And he would walk up and give us drink tickets. Mm-hmm. So that's why we went. Mm-hmm. And one of them was this woman talking about her art, and it was all about her photography, but she just did the thing where you arrange shit on a table and take a picture of it with a high quality camera. And she didn't call them photos, she called them narrations.
Yes.
And she goes, in this narrative, and then it was just like a necklace and like a flower and like a fucking gold spoon or something. And she goes, and the flower, it represents rebirth and renewal and the sovereign. And I was like, what the hell? What's a sovereign? And it was what she called the necklace. And she goes, belonged to my grandmother who taught me about like integrity and respect. And this sovereign, which I still wear around my neck daily, means whatever to me. And I wanted to just throw my chair at the screen. Yes. Like, I couldn't imagine anybody else in that room taking that seriously, because like you just said, you have a nice camera. You took a picture of some shit on the table, but you're not a photographer.
Oh.
So, and that's the whole question, is what is the line that, you know, the group of people who would define themselves as photographers versus the self-trained I just have a digital camera. Photographers, what's the hard line? Is like, do you know how to shoot analog? Is that the test?
Yeah, which our oldest kid, he's fascinated by old technology, and he has like 2 old like cameras from the 70s, and he shoots on film, and he's learning how to take proper pictures, and it's super cool. So yeah, but you asked where the line is, and my line is, if I find that person very annoying, then they are not a photographer. They are an annoying person. But we should have, we know a couple photographers. You probably know one too. We could have them on and talk about that, because I think quietly, which isn't quiet now because it's going to microphone, I think it's the easiest job in the world, and I want to do it so bad, but only because I don't know how to do it, and I guarantee it's extremely difficult to take a good picture. But I'm like, you just click and just go into Lightroom and then cash a check. But I know that's not how it is.
The biggest time suck is editing for photos. And so you might have a 2-hour shoot, but then you have 2 weeks of editing. Yep. Not to Photoshop it to shit, but just to make it look nice to the tone and direction that they want. And if you didn't get the right photo, you're fucked. Yeah.
I would think too, similarly to design, that it's one of those things where knowing maybe the aspects of the business as well, and like, you know, basic professionalism, and you know how to quote and price, and I think those things are what to me would make a quote unquote professional photographer or designer, for that matter. I think it's the same thing, but that to me would be the line, because I think that
if you bring
a lot
an
of
extra
people,
battery in your bag when you go out on a shoot, you're
that is
probably
a true
professional.
That's
like
a pro.
Yeah. Well, it's just you screwed up before, and you're not going to do that today because you want to get paid.
Everyone just goes ooh when you take it
out. What I wanted to do to start with is go around. Marcus and Miles are both designers, and I wanted to just ask you guys, like, because you both have schooling. I think Miles has the fanciest schooling.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with Miles. Like, did you go to a fancy design school?
I went to a design school.
I think, just as a caveat, I think they're all fancy because I didn't go to one.
Well, we all wore silk petticoats as we kerned.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy. Hello.
Hello.
I went to the IDEA program, which is at Capilano University in Vancouver, and that was a 3-year program. Had like a foundation year, and then 2 years of design instruction in a variety of stuff. And the first year there was no computers at all. It was sort of like a foundation year in the sense that it was visual art, it was illustration, a lot of hand done stuff.
So they didn't start you off just in like, here's Photoshop, go at it, like it's like theory and learning like properly.
And we were pissed because I think as a young person and you want to become a graphic designer, you're like, give me that computer right now. I want to make some cool stuff. And they wouldn't let us do it. We had to focus on all the other skills, which obviously are hugely important, but definitely was a strange way, I think, to get people started off. But I think that was to do with, getting people's conceptual thinking skills up and basic composition and stuff.
May also be a way to like call the herd a bit. Like, if you're bored of this, then go.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it's going to get better, but it'll get more exciting, but you need to know shit. Like when we had the Dobell brothers on episode 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it was, and Chris would tell me that in their sign painting trade school they went to in Sydney, Australia, they didn't just learn it on Instagram and be like, ooh, like their dad owned like one of the biggest sign painting shops in Eastern Australia. And they would take like a 2-hour train ride into Sydney like 2 or 3 times a week. And the first year was just learning the brush strokes, because like every character can be made of like a combination of like 5 brush strokes, like in curvatures or angles or straight up and down or straight across. And they would just do sheets, just like almost like you picture like learning kung fu, that guy like out in the woods just like punching a tree over and over and over until his hand gets like really, really strong. Like it looks painful and insane, but that's what they did. They didn't paint signs, they painted lines for like a year. But the people that stick around after that year are probably more dedicated, and you might get a better result from.
Sure, fundamentals, baby. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
definitely.
So what was like the first year was like theory and understanding everything. Like, what did you get into?
Like design wise at that time?
Yeah.
I think, probably like a lot of designers, it's children's book illustrations and that kind of thing, like kind of the sort of simple kind of illustration kind of style that I'd seen so much as a kid. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'd love to maybe illustrate children's books or something. So getting into illustration, kind of maybe even understanding what illustration is as opposed to fine art, I think that was a big one at that time. And luckily they spent as much time training everyone in illustration as anything else. So one of the things that sticks with me to now is our teachers would say, you're probably not going to get good photography ever or very rarely, so learn how to illustrate, because then you can solve your own problems and you don't really have to worry about dealing with assets and all that stuff, because you won't get them, or commissioning photo shoots and stuff, because those are all things that require budgets, and if you're working with small clients, so I actually thought that was very good advice.
I think that's probably not, like, from what I've heard, that's not entirely common. It's like, you can tell the designers, like, I have a new branding project, and the first thing they do is open up Illustrator. I was like, why don't you get a pencil? Just like knock out like 100 dumb ideas, and then just like find something good. Like don't start working on it until you have a good idea. But so the school, getting you to illustrate and think about like what I like about illustration is it's rapid. And like graphite's free, and you can do it all day. And as soon as I bring it into a tool, I try and start perfecting little areas about it. But when it's on paper, then whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really odd. Well, not odd, but it's good to hear when a school actually gives you real world advice instead of just whatever the focus is. Because if you're going to school for a job and you have no actual real world advice or real world experience, then when you get out, you're like, oh, this is nothing like what I learned. Yeah. It's like, I wish I was taught this or that.
I mean, I think there's definitely still a bit of that. I think, you don't come out of it doing, redesigning milk cartons or, that kind of thing. So there's definitely some of that.
A lot of missing children.
Yeah. What?
Let's not joke about it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the missing children out there who are listening right now.
You know who you are.
Find peace. You know you are.
Your mom and dad love you very much.
All the listeners, just missing children, just hoping to get on the air with us.
Just someone beside a burning trash can, just shivering.
Yeah, if you're locked in the basement and from a stranger and you somehow have Wi-Fi, hit us up at Worst Design Show and we'll help you out. Sorry, go ahead.
Anywho, and you're going by reverse alphabetical order of podcasts, and this could be your first one.
Yeah, and welcome. Thank you.
So
Thank you for the listen.
How long was the program, did you say?
So it was 3 years. So the first year, again, was just the hand stuff and the conceptual stuff. And then, years 2 and 3 were getting into, the finer points of packaging and branding. And they were a bit skimpy, I think, as were probably many schools at that time, getting into web-related stuff or any digital products or anything like that. That at that time I think wasn't. This is probably 2010, 11. Not really. Obviously things change so quickly, so it's a different sort of landscape now than then. But they were just sort of starting to figure that out because they were really rooted in those traditional skills. So
what I found too with a lot of programs, because I've talked to people that like run graphic design programs and at universities and stuff, and like schools around town and all that kind of stuff, is that the weakest part of their program is the UI web design stuff. Because if anybody's really good enough to teach, they're making money at a company and they're 100%. Not teaching. So you 100%. Get some like weird guy that's like and tables are useful still, and here's how to code them. It's like, you might as well omit it rather than having like a shitty instructor.
Well, you got offered or interest from the Jesus Christ. Hashtag
Vancouver University.
Vancouver Island University.
I'm deaf.
To be.
Have they heard this yet?
Thankfully, they don't listen to the podcast.
No, I think the head of the design program might.
Yeah, but didn't he ask if you wanted to be the UI instructor?
Or just basically teach anything. He's like, whatever you want to teach here would be cool.
Because then I got the pass down from that. And I was like, well, no, because I'm not commuting all that way.
You got my runoff P. Runoff program.
Excellent.
So I
snowball that job offer.
Yeah, just downhill on the trough, and you'll get what I don't want.
But yeah, anybody who who can do it is teaching or doing
Working,
it, not teaching it. Fuck, because the money is not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
I went there for a foundation year before my technically foundation year of the idea.
Yeah.
So I went to that. I went to the visual art program there.
Yep.
Just for a year, just for like a.
It's a good
professional
program.
thing. It was really good and really interesting. But I didn't even know they had a design program until I was in the visual art program. And I was like, God, darn
It's
it.
relatively new still, isn't it?
It's-
I feel like we went to the first graduation of the first year. Is that where you did the talk?
I think so.
Yeah.
And
There
they
was-
asked me to give a talk at the graduation, and I did a complete opposite advice thing
It was good.
about just like, steal ideas and whatever, and don't worry, clients will pay eventually. Don't pressure them and all that. And the students were like just baffled, and then parents would come up to me after like,
Hey,
"But,"
listen.
they said that was pretty funny. My kid has thought it was gonna be like an easy ride, and you just terrified him. He's
Yeah.
like, "Thank you." He's not gonna be moving back into my basement.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, what be your schooling? I realized I never knew what you did for a schooling jaunt.
Yeah, so I was working at a telecommunications company, and I hated it. So I looked for schools in the area that could combine computers and somewhat of art. And there was one, and it was, at the time they were called the Victoria School of Business and Technology. It was just
Oh, I know that place.
Is that
But
the one that's I'm pointing? The listeners can't.
Yeah,
see
now they're
this visually.
Q
I'm
College,
pointing
I think?
into
Yeah.
the air there, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're Q College now.
yeah, and just by us mentioning them, we may get a legal letter in the mail because they have a reputation.
Oh no.
Nice.
And it goes no further than that.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised because they offered
Mysterious.
evenings and weekends for the course, and it was a web design course, and so you'd learn how to use all the Adobe stuff, Flash, Dreamweaver, and I was like, oh, I'm going to take that. I can handle that, and I quickly realized that one is that because you're a certified Adobe expert doesn't actually make you an artist. It just
No.
means you know how to use all the tools and shortcuts, which actually not even all the shortcuts.
No.
And you
So-
can have a YouTube channel. I think they give you one if
I
you
think
become
so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the instructor who was teaching Illustrator, he quit about halfway through, and so we didn't have an instructor for a while. So they just said, "Don't come," and then they found somebody else to come in and finish the course. And by that time, I was the only student left because everybody else just dropped out. And he was a developer, and he just said, like, "I'm not teaching you Dreamweaver. We're going to hard code a site. What do you want to learn?" And I just was like, I want to learn how to do that on a site. And so
Yeah.
we just did it. And then as soon as I was finished, I just quickly put together a portfolio and started applying for jobs and got one. But the schooling was rough.
Yeah.
But the benefit was learning how to code. That was my advantage over a lot of people, was I knew how to design stuff and code somewhat.
I used to teach at that college.
Oh boy.
I used to teach Flash and advanced action script programming.
We didn't even get into Flash because the guy quit before,
And
so I'm glad we didn't.
So
Well, hold on a second. Flash?
yeah, it's
Flash.
it's for cartoon movies when you wanted to watch cartoon movies on your computer, not on your
Right,
phone. 8
right.
years ago was most recent. It was relevant, but like I used to do like art stuff in Flash with all the programming and like chaos theory, math, and you can go way down the rabbit hole. But it's fun. But yeah, so they asked me to create a course for Flash and then teach it. I was like, okay, cool. And then I did it, and then I taught it for like a semester. And then somebody's like, hey, how much did you get paid to create the course? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, they fooled you too? So I gave them a Flash course for nothing because I didn't realize I should have got paid to create a course. I was just like flattered that they asked me to teach.
You were really young then.
I was 8.
It's like those design books.
Here's your Bubba. Okay, listen, we need you to
Yeah.
make a course.
It's like those design books or awards where they're like, "Hey, we really like your work. Would you like to be considered? Pay us $50,
Yeah.
and we'll
Yeah.
add you.
Yeah.
We'll add you to the book."
Yeah, so I taught there for like a semester, and they're like, "Oh, that was great. Want to do it again?" I said, "Nope," because I feel ripped off, and it's also a pain in the ass to drive out here. So, if you're listening and you're from that college, we love it. all this is alleged and don't send us a legal letter.
I think that a lot of the digital stuff is hard to teach and hard to keep up with because of how rapidly it changes.
Oh, for sure.
And that's got to be the biggest struggle for schools. Because even like a UI UX course or whatever, within a year, that course has to change.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Standards change, best practices, like everything changes. And so it's like a faculty wouldn't be able to keep up with the amount of change, having to rewrite every test every semester.
And if
But
you want
also,
to
like-
get if you want to keep current and get plugins, and you got to get subscription stuff, and it's a money loser for a university probably to have.
I took a web design and development course in 2004 at UVic, and it was back then it was still Dreamweaver.
Camosun?
No, it was at UVic.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I did one at Camosun too later
Yeah.
on when I worked for the university. But when I was
Yeah.
just a student, I did one, and it was the guy who was teaching it was just this arrogant jerk who didn't know as much as Matt knew at the time. And then they were trying to teach us to do everything, so we were using Dreamweaver to build the sites, but he was teaching us how to do like web writing and stuff too. And it's just too much to cram into a single
But like
thing.
most of these courses seem to be taught by webmasters.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is code name for shithead. So if you consider yourself a webmaster,
Well, it's the type of person you'd see at the bottom of a website. This is website maintained by Dave.
No.
Dave Webmaster.
website
That's such a
rocked
common
by
name
Dave. And you click his name and it goes to his band's website, which looks exactly like the site you were just at.
Weird. It's like they use a template.
This is Dave.0.
It's like black background with green text on it, and
Yeah.
there's like little aliens dancing and stuff.
Fire GIF.
Yeah.
HOT.
So with the digital stuff though, like I find myself now going back and trying to learn the fundamentals that I have missed.
Yeah.
So like drawing hands. It's like, oh, I should just draw hands
yeah.
for the next 2 hours in weird positions just because I didn't do any art courses. Like for me, like I always took art in high school, and so I always had that fine art background, and I was just a doodler.
Yeah.
But to actually have structure is something I never had for that sort of stuff. So like going back and doing color theory, like having to teach yourself
Yeah.
is missed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could do it all again, I would have just been a tattoo artist. I still think it's the perfect job. And Ryan just got a tattoo on Monday.
I did.
And the guy Tuesday. The guy at Brian Carr, he does really, really nice work on
Brian
check him
Carr
out.
Tattoos on Instagram.
Sure. Even better.
Brian Carr is from the movie Cars.
Oh, yeah. That's
Tokyo Drift.
He is a car.
Chick Hicks' friend from Osaka. Osaka. But yeah, so Ryan was talking to him about like, my husband really thinks it'd be like the perfect job, and didn't he essentially say, "Yep, it's like the best job."
He says it's the best job ever. He never gets tired of it. But in order to do it right, it's going back to what you guys were just saying about fundamentals. You have to put in that time to really learn how to do it. You can't just pick it up. Like you could never fake being a tattoo artist.
There's no keyboard shortcuts
No.
you can learn for
Yeah.
being a tattoo
Which I like.
artist.
Like I like the preparation and the like having to be good at it to do it well. And then I like the fact that once you're done, you get a stack of cash. You tell the government, I made half this much money, and the rest goes into your pocket, and then the work goes out the door, and the transaction is done. Like, there's no edits. Like, oh, actually, could you actually move it to my back? It's like, no, I can do another one on your back for more money, but there's like the person has to commit, which a lot of clients aren't willing to do because inherently what we do, everything's editable. Yeah. So can we move that over here? Can that be purple? Can that kind of stuff? So
I just want to see it looking like that.
Yeah. I'm curious what it would look like that. I know that's not going to be the right answer, but I'm just curious. I'm like, it'll look like that, but purple. But can we just see it? I'm like, no. So I'm curious with both of you guys, did you get any kind of an education in regards to dealing with clients? Or was it more theory and technical?
I got 0.
I could pretty much guess that from where you went to school. Don't send us a letter.
I got it from dealing with clients.
Mean streets?
Making mistakes every step.
Yeah.
And trying and just not repeating that. That's how there's no client.
No, like that.
Client
Courses?
class,
That-
Clients 101.
Like that wait staff in that UK restaurant will only make that $6,000 wine bottle mistake once.
Yeah.
Because they fucked up. and they learn from it, hopefully, and they're like, I'm going to be so careful about everything I do now because I hated that feeling of screwing up, and that's how I learned how to deal with everything too.
For sure.
What about you, Miles? With like client stuff, was that even, if it was touched on, was it even helpful?
No, it wasn't touched
really
on.
Think about it?
No, it wasn't touched on at all. And yeah, I thinking back on it now, why there wasn't a like business of design class, it just seems insane to me.
Yeah.
That they talked a little bit about it in our third year. They had, maybe it was pretty brief, and it was essentially just sort of like a reading list that they sort of circulated to us, and some stuff that we should check out and resources and that kind of thing. But I really think, oh man, the same way I think that they should have a class on like basic financial skills in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Which
they should
just offering in the NFL now. It's like, you're 18 years old and we're giving you $80 million, but no guidance on how to like keep it. Like all these lessons are being learned too late for a lot of people. So
you can get one great. Lamborghini, just not two or three. Yeah.
In trying to
reach foot.
In trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, I spend a bit of time at another college doing accounting.
In the NFL.
Yes, I attempted to play for the Rough Riders. I can't think of it.
That's CFL, big boy.
Yeah, that's the crappy football league.
No, LA Rough Riders.
Rams?
LA Rams. I love football.
I
live for it.
No,
I breathe football.
It's the LA Ram Riders.
But we did, during my accounting courses, one of the classes was financial math. And that was mortgages, loans, everything to do with being an adult. And it's like, why don't they teach this in high school? This is way more important than anything else.
It's like, let us teach the kid how to make quesadillas if you want to give them like life experience. Like home economics is like, no, chicken is not economics. It's dinner. Like teach them how to not like screw yourself up and like the part of your life where everybody's going to be offering you every credit card known to man and you have no money to pay them off and no idea how to use them. Like as a designer, like being a young designer, this is like take 30% of this check and put it in the bank for taxes. Like all the stuff that you're like, wow, I got $800. It'll last forever. Yeah. And the government gets none of it. And then later you realize.
Even teaching the differences, like if you work for an agency, this is what you should expect. If you work for yourself, expect this much extra work. You got to deal with management. You have to deal with everything for yourself. Mm-hmm. I think trying to teach client stuff as well is also difficult because it's more, I feel if you had it was like a client learning cross with human behavior and psychology would be more beneficial because every client is like they react differently to one tactic, but it can work with another client. Yeah. And so like trying to figure them out as quickly as possible is the key.
And you also run the risk of like poisoning the well, I think, if you're kind of like, maybe saying, clients are like this or clients are like that or whatever. You're going to put weird ideas in people's heads when in reality, clients are people who want their business to succeed. So,
And the lesson I learned way too late is, and Ryan's heard me say this 100 times too, is we always make the mistake of assuming that our clients are professional clients. Right. Yeah. They're not. They have another job. This could be the first time they've ever dealt with somebody like us, and we're all different as well. Sure. So, like in the first 2 weeks, like the honeymoon period of the project, like, yeah, we'll get you that content and this looks great and everything's good. But they're not just sitting in an office waiting for us to email them. They have a whole other job to do. And we become a pain in the ass because we're something that they let fall off the side of their desk that they now have anxiety about, and they just want to get it done. And they don't want to get it done well. They just want it done so their boss doesn't think they're an idiot for letting a project fail. Yeah. So understanding that, gauging whether people are just trying to get it done or they'll actually devote the time to getting it done properly, and being able to make that determination early on. It's like, well, this one is just it'll be fine, we'll get it done, but they don't really care, and they're just looking to us to make a lot of decisions for them. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. And other ones, they want to be involved in a lot of the process, and that's fine too. Mm-hmm. But either one of them can take way more time than you ever thought they would.
And I think that requires a lot of emotional intelligence on the part of people in the creative industry to sort of navigate those things that come up with every project. It's totally underrated. I think people skills obviously huge. obviously. But
Yeah.
I would have loved to have a course in presenting,
Oh, that would be helpful.
and then that involved presenting over a webcam.
With
and then
audio issues.
Yeah.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
also just like
Pay to
can
play.
they see us?
yeah, like preparing
Cam stuff.
for a meeting, and also like practice of doing web video calls.
Yeah.
Because your first slew of them is just an anxious disaster.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, am I sharing the? I mean, it still happens when you have technical issues.
You have to bake that into the meeting time, that there's going to be technical issues
sure.
for every Google Hangout.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny, like when I worked for Shaw Cable, the communications giant. When I started there, I was on the phone doing technical support, and one thing we were always told was try not to have dead air. So like if you're doing something while something's working, try not to just let it sit there. Like fill it with like, hey, talk about weather, talk about whatever. Just don't let it be dead air. And I've been on presentation calls where I wasn't presenting. It was another company, but I can't remember why we were there. Anyways, I was watching a presentation, a recorded one, and the amount of dead air made me so
Anxious, probably.
yeah. I was like, what are you doing? Like, fill it with something.
Yeah.
Like, talk about it. Don't just sit there while things are loading and everybody's just silent. It's very uncomfortable. Like, it's odd. So, anyways, courses like that, those would be beneficial to give people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with me, my education background is I barely got out of high school. Then my dad said go to college or join the army, and I said both of those sound bad. I think he just wanted me to get a haircut. And then I went to
Well, in his defense, you had a Zach De La Roca look going on.
Yeah, you need to post a picture of what your hair looked like back then.
Zach De La Roca paints a pretty good picture. I said I'm much whiter than Zach, and my afro was larger. It was the 70s. It was a different time. We were all kids back then. So I went to the local university, which is now Vancouver Island University. Back then it was Malaspina. And I went and I looked at the list of programs, and my dad gave me like $30 to register. And I saw graphic design. I was like, what's that, like pictures? They're like, yeah, you learn how to like make pictures. And I was like, cool. They're like, it's a 2-year wait list. And I said, perfect. And I gave him $30, and I went home, and Dad's like, did you register? I was like, yeah, I'll be a student in upwards of 2 years. And he just went, fuck. And just like, he's like, you called my bluff. You registered for something that you'll probably never take.
But what was your artistic background before then? Like, was there any
Drawing.
There's nothing in high school?
Yeah, like my entire, when I was a kid, we lived in like a regular neighborhood outside Vancouver, and then we moved way further out from like we lived on a road with like 5 houses on it, and they were all old people, like really old people, and they didn't like kids. So I would just hang out by myself. I'd like ride my skateboard, BMX, and then when it was raining or whatever, which it rains a shitload here, I would get on the weekends my dad would be home. Well, he was home like a lot, but it was just he drove trucks, so he was gone a lot. Then on the weekends he'd like drive you into town, buy me some comic books, and I would go home and I would just redraw all the pictures. I'd open the comic book and I would draw a picture on like a piece of like 8.5 by 11 paper, and then be like done, and draw another one, and done, and I would just tape them all on my walls, and I would just be drawing comic books all day. I didn't know what else to draw, so I would just do that. And then we moved to Vancouver Island and moved even further away from civilization. Like we moved to a road with like 2 houses on it. The house beside us raised Rottweilers, and I would have to bike by their house every day on the way home, and they would always break through the fence and like chase me to my front door.
God.
And then for some reason they got ostriches. They got like 4. One of them was a male, and it headbutted all the females to death. And the guy butchered the meat in his garage and brought it up in a bag. Like, want ostrich meat? And Lauren's like, no, we're cool. Anyway, so there wasn't a lot going on. Socially and, environmentally, there's a lot going on. There's like bears and cougars and stuff, or mountain lions to our friends in America. And Limerick, you call them like potato cats?
Potato cat.
Okay.
Oh boy, this is.
I don't know a lot about Ireland. But so it was like way out in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't even skateboard anymore because we essentially lived on a gravel road with a gravel driveway. I'd play basketball. I'd skate in the driveway or in the garage, play basketball in the front yard, and ride a dirt bike, and then would just keep drawing and drawing and drawing. So I would buy comic books that had a good cover because I wanted to draw it, but I didn't want to open the comic books because I wanted to save them till I was old and then sell them. Mm-hmm. So I have a stack.
Classic kid move.
Yeah, like I have a stack like 8 inches high of like unopened Batman comic books that are like 30 to like 50 years old because I bought like old like number ones that had never been opened and stuff. Like I went from like 1964 that I bought that it's like a number one Batman Origins or something like that, never been opened, and I would just draw the cover. So that's what I would do. So then getting into high school, my art teacher liked me, so she said you don't really have to do the assignments, but you do have to hand stuff in. So I would just make whatever I wanted and then hand it in, and she graded me differently because everyone else was like, draw your shoe with one solid unbroken line. And she's like, you don't have to draw your shoe, just make something else. And I would like paint something or sculpt it or draw it or whatever. And then by the time I was in 12th grade, because you get like 3 electives per semester. So the first semester I had history and 3 art classes. And then the second one I had English and 3 art classes. So I'd spend 75% of my day in the art room with the same teacher just making shit. So that was me making stuff for like no reason forever, which is like, it goes back to what you're saying, Miles, about like learning how to draw early and learning how to like, well, this drawing's not going great. I'll just like scrap it and I'll start another one. And that, I think that translated both the like disposable nature of early design, and also the freedom just to try shit because whatever.
I think that's important to have now, though. Also to have that sort of I don't believe in being precious about stuff. Like as soon as I finish it, it's basically gone from my brain. Yeah. So I literally almost never think about it again. And I think there's a real danger in sort of being sucked into this. That's why I'm both enamored and a bit scared of like craft in design, because obviously you need to do what you need to do in order to make, like I'm holding up a beer can right now and there's like this incredible label on here, and obviously
thanks to Sean O'Keefe and Phillips Brewing.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think that it's helpful to fail quickly and to do things quickly and to when I lived in London before here, I was working in an app and I was the visual lead on their editorial team, and I was doing all their like editorial video for stuff, so kind of like Snapchatty style video kind of things. Yeah. And they literally had no idea how it was supposed to go really in terms of the content. Like in terms of the writing and sort of the conceptual ideas they did for sure. But in the visuals, they were like, just go, just make something cool. And so every day I would have to just make stuff. Like, and I just think that like, if you can just get stuff done and to a point where you're like, this is about 80% of what I had in my mind. Yeah. And they're like, great. Then you just keep doing it.
Did you learn video editing in school?
We learned a little bit. We learned a little bit of After Effects. Right. But
enough to get by.
I didn't even touch it until I worked at this app again, which was like even a year and a half ago.
And this goes back to my point of making yourself more valuable than the people around you to keep your job.
It's the only reason I have a job is learning new prototyping tools, teaching myself After Effects and motion design. I'm not a incredibly talented motion designer by any stretch, but I know enough to get it done. Yeah. To professional level. But it was just all self-training.
You also have the ability, like most people should have, is to recognize, like, no, we should really hire an expert for this.
Absolutely.
Because this deserves more attention. It's like more budget.
When you see stuff by, studios like Giant Ant or Buck or any of those studios, it just makes me want to just sob and crawl into a ball on the floor because it's so good. It's incredible stuff. And I was like, that to me is like, But yeah, absolutely. You have to know when to engage those people for sure.
Yeah, even with like my development skills, I learned a couple years ago, like I'm capped. I can't learn anything new because if I'm not in it every day, it's gone. Like I tried to learn a full like, I'm going to do this whole course on, I can't remember what languages it was. And then I got a few days in and it's like, I can't retain any of this. Yeah. Like every day I'm having to redo it from the very beginning because it's like, but I can sit down and build a custom website from nothing.
Well, if you can to a point. Speak intelligently about a subject with a professional, then it's like I can talk development with developers, and
Yes.
like you, I can develop to a point, and it's like I can get it to a point where now I have to learn new development stuff, where I could spend that learning new design stuff, which is my job.
Yeah.
But like you, Miles, would have the ability to speak about like in After Effects, like with a project, like if you hired a professional After Effects designer, like you could sit down with the tool and be like, this is what I had in mind and all that. Like you can speak that language, and I find that goes a long way. So like an education program where they touch on a bunch of everything, I think it's nice for a couple of reasons. One is because it gives you kind of the buffet of what you can do with the job,
Right.
and be like, I really like After Effects, I really like illustration, I love branding, or I love UI design. But it also gives you a few talking points going into a meeting.
Sure.
And especially with developers, when you're sitting across from them and being like, I totally respect what you do, and this is my background, and I can talk to it up to about here. But beyond that, it's just like, these are my ideas, and I'm, trusting you people to
You people.
I was going to say guys. I was like, is that cool? And I said, you people. I mean, that sounds way worse. But the ability to, like, I'm not ignorant of what you do, but I also am not pretending that I can do better than you.
Right.
And
Yes.
I think that goes a long way with clients as well. Like I research, Ryan's seen this a bunch, like I'll research the client's industry a ton because I want to speak to them intelligently about it. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're not an idiot that I have to like wonder if you're doing it right. You made the effort, and now we can have like a much more productive conversation.
Can I say that that's something that maybe happens a lot in I'm making air quotes right now, UI UX designers. I think that there's a lot of, like we're talking about with photography, where you buy a really super dope banging camera and you're a photographer. Then I think there's a lot of people who consider themselves UI or UX designers, and that's not the case at all.
No, they buy the right glasses and hang out in front of the coffee shop, and they're like, I'm putting out the vibe. It's like,
I love UX.
yeah, it's like if you were like a full-time sought-after UI UX designer, you wouldn't be happy ever outside of a coffee shop.
No, you're
just
crying
like,
in the bathroom like all other UI or UX designers.
Yes, exactly.
And it's funny with age and experience too. When I design something now for the web, it's less focus on cool, and it's more or less, does this make sense? Like, is this
Or work.
Yeah. It's like if I'll do an audit on a site and be like, none of this makes sense. You're appealing to yourself, and that's it. And it's now like switching to more accessibility and just a complete understanding from the consumer, and less about like, oh, this is a cool button. Because so often you go to a site and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing on this. And it's like, I get that they're trying to be cool, and I get it, but I don't know what the fuck to click on. And what is this?
That's why user testing is so important, and I hate that that's the thing that ends up going by the wayside in a lot of the web projects that I work on. There's never a budget for user testing, but of course the website, of course the person who's your client is going to know how to navigate the website because it's their information and they know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So, but I find that's the difference between a seasoned designer and a younger one is like, if you asked a younger designer, like, redesign the hammer, they'd be like, ooh, cool, design challenge, and come up with some
Somebody did.
Yeah, some weird.
I saw it.
What?
I saw the redesign hammer the other day, actually.
I didn't even know
what
that's
did
a
it look
thing.
like?
Yeah, it was really funny because it's a hammer that allows you to add a strip of nails into it, so you don't have to. It's a one-handed hammer. The funny thing is, as I watched the video on it, and it looked like the person had never used the hammer before. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
It's backwards, actually.
So it's like
just turn it around.
It's like an analog nail gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds more.
But you still have to give it enough force to
Yeah.
get to drive the nail in. But then how do you? Anyways,
what I have told clients in the past, and team members and whatever it is if you hand a young designer a hammer and say redesign this, then they'll come back with like 4 different concepts for a hammer, and this one's this one has Bluetooth, and this has a speaker in it, and this all like this giant mess. But if you hand it to somebody that's been doing the job forever, it's like, redesign this. So look at it and be like, hand it back to you like it's fine.
Yeah.
Like why this has not changed for 100 years. Why am I going to improve it? I don't use this for my job. Like, hammers work good.
I never thought I'd be at that point in a career where I'd be turning down or like pushing back work, and my question is why?
Yeah.
It's like they want to do this. It's like, yeah, but why? And it's like, oh, I don't know. They just want to. It's like, I don't think they need to. Tell them to save their money and just do what they're doing is fine.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I've had that too, and that's like an experience thing, which could be taught in school as well. But depending on the school you're at, is just asking why. And I've had people like, hey, we need a new website. I have like a cabinetry business. This was like 3 years ago. I was like, why do you need a new website? Yours looks fine. Like, he's like, oh, well, we want to be featured on Google Maps. I was like, you don't need a new website to do that. And I sent him a link to how to place your business on Google Maps. He's like, oh my God, this is so easy. Thank you.
And you're like, yeah, that's going to be $20,000.
Yeah, but he's like, how much do we owe you? And I said, nothing, just one day when you're adding like your 9th location, remember us if you ever want anything done, because me giving you 5 minutes of free advice saves like 2 months of a project where you don't know why you're spending money.
Yeah.
And I can't get a purpose out of you, and it ends poorly. And then you also took too long doing it because they didn't know why they're spending money. Then all of a sudden, like, they spent money that they don't see value in. You've done too much work for that money, and everybody parts ways feeling bummed.
Right.
But if you ask, why do you want a new website? They say, well, we want to be able to feature products. Like, cool. Let's look at what you have now. Maybe we can help you out there, and then like ease into it. But that getting a clear understanding of why a client is willing to spend money with you, most of the time it's super valid, but there are times where it's just like, we just need our phone number on the website. Like, oh, the website isn't working for you, but people are trying to call you still. Cool. Let's just make your website a phone number and just be like, call us at, and then they're like, it's great. We have so many calls now. And if that's how they make sales and get it done, then trying to make it cool isn't going to make their sales better. It's just they're going to have a cool website that people don't know how to use.
Yeah.
So with going to school and experience and basically we've all been doing this for a while now, and Ryan's been around it for a long, long time. Like, I'm talking about people that can't speak about design and development. Ryan's been in rooms with tons of design and tons of development, and she can speak intelligently about those subjects as like a writer and project manager and all that kind of stuff, which is a big help. But education-wise, Miles, we'll start with you. Do you feel that your schooling helped you get a job, or do you feel that you can do your job better because you had schooling?
So I have the worst. I have the worst story about this, and it will win me no sympathy with anyone because one of my instructors gave me a job at the new firm that he started after he quit my design school. Oh. So he was great guy, taught me everything that I know. Sean Carter at Carter Hills Design Lab in Vancouver, who is they're a fantastic studio. They do really, really great work. A lot of really smart, cool people there.
Yep.
Hi, Sean, and
Hello,
everyone.
Sean.
I know you're listening. That got creepy though.
It did.
Oh man, I lost it now. What was
Like,
the thread?
did education help you get a job? In your
Yes,
case,
so it
absolutely.
did. Absolutely did. It was literally the reason. So almost for that alone, I think that was worth it. But my instructor, he was my packaging instructor, and he and I got along well. And he was like, hey, I'm actually like stopping teaching. I'm going to stop teaching, and I'm going to start my own studio. He had co-owned a studio called Hangar 18 in Vancouver for years and years and years. And so he's like, I'm starting a new studio, and do you want to join on? And I was the first employee, and I was with them for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So little store or studio on Main Street, like Main and 30th. That used to be a Filipino community store. To eventually, when I left there to move to England, it was like 10 plus staff, big swanky office, and that kind of new tech corridor in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Down there. So it was really cool to see them kind of grow like that. So that absolutely for that alone. And I was feeling pretty good about myself in design school at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a job. This is going to be great. Nothing's ever going to go wrong ever from now on.
I'll work here forever.
I'll work here
likely.
forever.
I'm never going to die.
I'm never going to die.
I can speak fluent French now. This is great.
All of those things.
Yeah. So with that obviously was like a 1-to-1 getting you a job. with the next job, do you think your experience at the previous studio was a bigger factor, or was your education like? Do you feel your education played into it at all, like on paper, on a resume, or was the experience more of a thing?
I think that school specifically is like a feeder school for the industry, so there are a lot of people who will kind of poach graduates from that school, which is really awesome. Not necessarily guaranteed getting a job, but I think that's probably one of two places where they would literally take people from.
Yeah.
But I think it's the soft skills, I think, that are the real takeaway from design school, and I think the immersion in it and sort of being around it all the time, that was a big thing and a big part of it too. But yeah, I think just sort of taking critique. It was all, being able to talk about the work in a coherent way. And those are the things that I really took from design school. Not necessarily the Dreamweaver websites and not that they were doing their best, I'm sure, at that time too. But it was more the sort of soft skills that I really took that away. Yeah,
yeah. And Marcus, with your first job, do you think the schooling on the resume was like, because that was like your only experience at that point, right?
Yeah.
Were they like, oh, it's like fancy schoolboy?
It barely translates. Yeah. It's such a small percentage. It's more, and that's the thing. Like, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you go for an interview and they don't like you, what's the point?
Or they don't really read your resume either.
Yeah, you can be a dick with the most skills, or you can just be a nice person who wants to do something and wants to learn, and that's a more desirable hire. Yeah. So it only helped a tiny bit. It helped me just have like a sliver of confidence of like, I kind of know how to develop. I kind of know how to design. Yeah. Can I have a job? That was it.
Well, I know for us, when we were trying to hire a junior designer, it doesn't really matter what their resume says. What it matters what their work looks like and how quickly they can do it and how they can execute an idea. So
yeah, and if they're annoying when you meet them, then no.
Yes, exactly.
Like we had one like star pupil of like a program, and they were sent to us. So like, yeah, they'd be really good. Oh.
You know who it is, don't you?
No. I just was laughing at the audible oof.
Yeah.
So they came and met with us, and we're like, and they didn't like dress up or anything. They didn't bring like really a resume. They were just kind of like, hey, what's up? I was like, your job interview, fuckhead. Like, get it together. like I know I'm not wearing like a shirt and tie, but like we could sign paychecks with your name on them if you want to be a part of this. Like, you're fresh out of school. I'm also very critical and like obsessive over stuff. So like I could help you a lot by being like, it's not good enough. Like, this is how you fix it. Like, just go insane to make it good. Like, it would have been a good experience for the right person. But she came in and we're like, yeah, so you're almost done school. What are your plans now? She's like, I don't know. Might move to Vancouver. I was like, you're not in Vancouver right now, right? Yeah. Like, we're like 90 kilometers away from Vancouver, or whatever that is, miles for everybody else. But she just didn't care. And I was like, well, then I just want you to go. Like, she drove down.
Go now.
Yeah, like, she drove from Up Island to Victoria to be interviewed by us, and she didn't care that she was there.
No.
And I was like, how are you going to care about things that I think matter? I think this matters. And you don't care about it. How are you going to care about a project? Because it's really like, we need a website for a thing. It's like, whatever. It's like, yeah, we all feel fucking whatever, but also do a good job.
Yeah.
Like, you don't cook like chicken in a frying pan and be like, whatever, it's probably cooked, and start eating it. You're like, no, you have to.
Well, some people do.
Yeah.
And they're dead.
But it has to be beautifully fresh chicken.
Going back to chickens
again. I was going to say this.
Did we talk about chickens before?
Yeah, we already talked about chicken.
Yeah. You don't sell chickens for money, you design them. I think that's where you're going with that. Wait, no, it was chickens.
Wait, you don't design chickens for money. You sell them?
If you kill a chicken, you can sell that meat for cash, but if you let it live, then you can sell its eggs for more. Yep.
If you teach a man to fish.
If you teach a
man to chicken egg, then man chicken egg all day.
There's a farmer somewhere who's like, I sell chickens for money. That's how he describes his job.
I sell their oblong white poops for food. Anyway.
You can eat them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do eggs in the store? We just instantly assumed that they're chicken eggs. Are they labeled chicken eggs in the grocery store?
No, but they should.
And some of them have little
Never
pictures
thought
of
about
chickens.
that. I know they have pictures, but they don't actually specifically say chicken eggs.
You think they're
they
like-
just
No,
say
but-
eggs.
Do you
Yeah,
think they're iguana or
Crocodile eggs?
No, but like when you go to like Fairway and they sell duck eggs, he's right. It says duck eggs.
something? Fairway, the local market here
Yes,
for non-local people.
Yes.
We're talking to you, Killarney, Ireland.
And they also sell pig uterus
Yeah.
and big cubes of coagulated blood there, which is interesting to look at,
It is.
but not appetizing to me. So
Back to selling chicken.
Final
yeah,
thoughts?
back to selling chickens. So for people that have no interest in going to school, or maybe have been freelancing for a while and feel like school, while it would be useful, finding the time and money to like, all right, I'm going to put my freelancing career I may have had for 5 years on hold. Like there was a point early on where I was like, wow, I need to learn things better because I don't know things real good. But at that time, it's like I have too many clients and I have a design job and I can't. And like we had family and like young kids and all that. We still have them. They're not gone. Like they're all dead. But I couldn't. Like I got to a point where I knew I needed to know things more comprehensively and how things connect better. But I couldn't stop what I was doing to learn it. And so for people like that, like the importance of experience is huge because that's really the education you have. Is like at that time I worked. Well, before that I used to work at a computer bookstore, which was this very specific thing.
It was.
Like
It's called Half Price Computer Books, and they would buy computer books by the pound on pallets.
Can you define computer book?
Yeah, it's like you take two computers and then you bind them and you open them.
Paper.
It's like the new Samsung phone. It's a computer book.
My
Didn't
God.
Penny have that in Inspector Gadget?
Yes, she did.
In my head, when you said Penny, I thought of Penny Hardaway, and he was a forward for the Orlando Magic in like 1995.
Was it Penny or Anthony?
Where's he?
I know,
right
but his
now?
nickname was Penny because his real name was Anthony, but
Wait,
they called him Penny.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Killer name. Killer name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's not just a slip up.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, somebody signed that birth certificate. But so I worked in a store filled with computer books. I previously went to a design school. My dad again was like, "You have to get a job. You have to do something." And I was like, "Oh." I was at A&W getting like breakfast the other morning, like fast food breakfast in the mall, and I saw that there was a college in the food court.
Wait, what?
It was
In Bay Center.
It was called Compu College. So I went in and I was like, "Do you have business courses?" And they're like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Business." And they're like,
I want to do business.
"Yeah." I was like, "I'd like to do business quite well, actually." And they're like, "Hey, we have a new program. It's web design." I was like, "What's a web and why would you ever design it? Isn't that not the job of the delicate spider?" And people are laughing quietly. Not out loud.
Some polite
You're
laughter.
gonna insert some laughter from a crowd.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because you have total control of the audio file.
But-
Might as well.
But at that time, I was like 20. I had never used a computer before, and I didn't know what websites were. So they told me, and I was like, well, so I just make pictures on the computer? They're like, yep. I was like, cool. And then I told my dad, it's like, hey, there's a program, and it was like $7,000 tuition. He's like, well, we have an education account for you, so here's the money, and here's money for books. And I didn't buy any books because I didn't have any other money, so I bought like
Computer books.
cases of craft dinner. No, that was before I worked at the computer bookstore. I had so little money when I was going to school. Also, I rarely went to school, and like I said, I didn't buy books because I needed the money for food. So when I did show up at school, I didn't know what anybody was talking about because I didn't have books. So I would buy a case of like craft dinner, like macaroni and cheese, which is 12, and I would eat one box a day, as that was all my food, for 2 weeks. And Sundays was my day off from eating because 2 weeks is 14, but it only came 12 boxes to a case.
Wait, how far away from home were you?
Hour and a half. Fairly disinterested parents. It's fine. And when I showed up there, if I had gas money, I got food and stuff. It was fine. They used to win meat at like the pub.
Oh yeah, meat
I
draws.
believe
Yeah.
a meat draw. Yeah.
And then I'd be like, they're like, here's like 19 pounds of ribs, go home and eat.
Here's
and
some
I'd be
elk.
like, and I was like, that's a challenge. I should eat all these at once. And then I would make them all and eat them all. And they'd be like, well, I guess craft dinner tomorrow. So smart. Again, using money wisely and spreading out the resources that education everybody needs. So I graduated from this intelligent university in the food court or compu college. And then after that, I learned enough that I wanted to start making pictures on the computer. Only Photoshop, my pirated copy of Photoshop wouldn't load on my very old computer, but Fireworks would load, which is an old
Right.
Macromedia product.
Yeah.
It was great for web design because you could drag the guides from the ruler, and they would land on the exact pixel. There was no
much
like 144.87 for the x-axis like in Photoshop or something like that. So you could like double click the guide and say like move it to 300, and it would just go like that. Like it was made for the web.
Yeah.
So I was making like art in it, like digital like collage art and all that. And I did that for like 2 years before I had a computer that would install Photoshop. And then from there I was like, whoa, Photoshop's really complicated. And then at that point I was working at the computer bookstore. I would liberate many books and just go home.
Liberate. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, they were being held captive.
Does that mean having sex with them?
He's
But
very
they were
Because books just want to be free. Yeah.
because they would buy the books by the pound. I thought I was literally freeing like slaves. Like, you come home with me. You're no longer entrapped by the confines of the store. You will be bought and sold no more. I was the Abraham Lincoln of the bookstore, and
12 years a book.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and I probably stole 12 years worth of reading. But like in our house, we had like stacks and stacks and stacks of books. Like if I knew a project was coming up that I had to use PHP for, I would liberate or borrow a book, and then I would go through I would sit down and read them like a novel. Because if you work through it on the computer while you're reading it, you get caught up in like the technical parts.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm screwing this up, and whatever, this didn't work, and then you're inundated with the task. You're not learning. So I'd read it like a book. Like this is everything that PHP can do. Now I know what I need it to do. So when I'm going through it, I would like earmark the pages and be like, I'll come back to this because this will help me. But yeah, I'd read the entire thing like an afternoon, and then I would spend the entire night learning PHP at the computer. Mm-hmm. And that's how I learned everything. Because even though I went to the food court college, they really didn't know anything. It was because it was web design, like we were saying earlier, like Miles at your school, the UI stuff, it wasn't even called UI then, but it wasn't very good because anybody good was working and making money at it. So we had a bunch of people that were, they were very nice and all, but you just didn't get much of an education. So yeah.
But it kind of makes me think of, again, coming back to like just eternally being a student and self-learning. And obviously I think we all seem like the type of people who are interested in this stuff, and we really wanted to sort of pursue it to its end point, or try to like figure it out so we can get better and improve and that kind of thing. And I think that is like crucial if you're going to be working in the creative industry in any capacity. You have to be about self-knowledge and constant improvement. And stuff. That's the only way you'll really, I think, be able to adapt and change.
Yeah, and really at the end of it, it's problem solving. Like you can get into it thinking, I'm going to make like a cool website or like a cool logo. It's like a design for me is like the result of a problem solved. Mm-hmm. So like if you love figuring shit out and trying to make it work, and like, it's to me, it's not that different than from like engineering. Like you need technical knowledge, but you really got to love solving that problem, or else like you're just decorating cakes. Yeah. It's like, look at the picture I made. It's like, cool. What does it do? It's like, well, not a lot, but it looks pretty. It's like pretty doesn't sell stuff. Like you have to the things we make, and that's one thing that I've heard from Vancouver Island University here, the head of the design program. He's a very, very nice guy. Is that they get like, we get them critiquing each other. We get them playing the client. We get them like, we don't paint it as like, oh, make the prettiest picture you can and explain why it's so pretty. They're like, no, we kind of have them go head to head and like solve each other's problems. It's like, oh, that's really cool, because that's the entire job. Like the ability to use Illustrator doesn't make you a good problem solver. It makes you not even an illustrator, makes you somebody that can turn shapes into whatever. But
money.
Yeah, well, ideally.
Yeah.
So before we move on to Jeopardy in a few minutes, we'll take a quick break before that. But to sum it up, what would you guys say if you could advise somebody on like a path, like choosing a school, going it your own, doing whatever, like how do you pick a school, all that kind of stuff? Like what would your advice be to like an 18-year-old person considering getting into design? Like, is school worth it?
Yes.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say no.
Yeah.
I say it's worth it to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Learn the fundamentals of things. Just always have value to yourself.
I think that school is a great introduction to client and project work because it's all about deadlines, and I think it's really valuable to kind of have that with not as big of consequences. Like you're not going to lose a client over handing an assignment late, but it teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good point. But if the instructors treat each project like a client project, like if it's late, then like don't bother. It's too late. Like you missed the deadline. You screwed up. Like if it's can I have another week? Can I have another week? While we do that to clients when we're really hectic and like, hey, we're just fine tuning it and we're gonna have it for you next week. Sorry, it's a few days late. What that translates to is we can't start on it till tomorrow, and we're gonna do as good a job as we can before you see it. But so Miles, with the like school not being worth it,
I think for me it's not that it's not worth it. Maybe that's a strong that's
too
strong
late.
language. It's too late.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Don't tell
we
my
can't
It's not
just
like we can redo
we
things.
can't
Don't
just
tell my
delete
teachers.
things when we screw
They're
up.
listening now.
I think, I mean, I do agree that, what Ryan said. I think that there are hugely beneficial things. It's an introduction to the industry and to sort of working with clients and stuff. I also think that there's huge value in an internet connection and some ambition and some tutorials. I think
online
that
learning's
is
pretty good now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a member of a couple sites that give design tutorials about stuff, and that's how I taught myself animation, which I now do as part of my job. So, if you want proof that you can do it, you can do it. It's all about how much attention you give it, and the kind of if you're the type of person that you can like watch videos and really sort of internalize it, and then want to do it, and kind of you can do it. Like you can do these things. It's not impossible. You don't need someone giving you outdated information about an industry that is different when you graduate than when you sign up. So it is valuable, but I also think that it's also valuable to just be the type of person that just has a passion to want to do it. I think that's equally as valuable.
Yeah, I think that speaks to if you're inherently a motivated person, then you can do it on your own. If you need a kick in the ass and you need to be accountable in front of people to get shit done, then go to school probably, and then never freelance for yourself. Just work for studios and just kind of be in the team environment and be accountable and be afraid of deadlines and be afraid of disappointing a boss. But if you can do it your own, like I think everyone at this table right now could successfully just freelance because we don't hesitate.
No.
You know, you?
No, because I don't want to have to go find clients.
Yeah, that could be.
What
a
I'm
tricky
saying is,
thing.
if like clients, if finding clients weren't like wasn't the impediment, if work was just coming in,
Then yeah.
you would get your work done.
Yeah, I could do everything else involved.
Like you wouldn't get a message and be like, "Hey, you want to go to the beach?" and be like, "Yeah, screw it, I'll work later." You'd be like, "Nope, working. Like I have to get this stuff done." And I think that's the motivator. Well, that's the motivation that can allow people to learn on their own and freelance. And there are people that need the team and they need the the kombucha tap and they need the
Sometimes
the
your
scary boss.
Kombucha tap.
Yeah.
your
Mushroom
motivator
juice.
is
Miles has a fancy wine glass for his kombucha.
I drink kombucha out of a wine glass.
You know it's
At
made out of
work.
mushrooms,
I'm
right?
shouting it from the rooftops.
All right,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Last little spot about kombucha. Someone once said, and I overheard it. I don't remember where, but they compared kombucha to Sprite that somebody spit in. And I've never been able to forget that.
Or like left under a radiator or something.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first, but
Spit
it's
ring.
grown on me.
Yeah, for sure,
I
me too.
Have you tried the Babe's Honey Farm one?
No.
It's really good. You
More
should try
local
it.
references.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Ireland. Enjoy this. This is what it's like to live here.
Yeah, we We drink mushroom juice from the bee farm.
We all stand up paddleboard to work, and we all wear Gore-Tex. And
Yep. And we're all mountain climbers and mountain bikers.
Yeah.
Around the room, my verdict is school's fine if you want it, but for $40 a month, you can get like a LinkedIn Learning, which used to be lynda.com, or like a Treehouse subscription or whatever. If you're motivated, you can figure that shit out. You can learn more technical stuff in a shorter period of time for way less money. It's at like what you're saying, Miles, like the soft skills and the practical knowledge about like how do you deal with stuff, and the financial stuff, that's the stuff you're gonna have to go and find as well, because if you don't know it, you're gonna get screwed by that ignorance eventually. And on that note, break.
Ready?
Back for Jeopardy in a few minutes.
We're doing Jeopardy now? Are
Yep.
you going to put the... my question is...
That's what
are
you
you
had to wait for?
No.
We're doing like Jeopardy?
My question is, are you going to put in the theme music? Because that would make a better segue into this than
We
doing
would.
like a mid-music.
I'm going to figure out how to do all that this weekend by using it as like an input. I actually found a Jeopardy sound machine. That's a website. You can just click the buttons and it plays all the stuff. Didn't have time to learn how to make the input and other thing part of the aggregate channel. Technical talk, speculative tax, local barbecue. But Ryan has been volunteered by me to make the sounds for Jeopardy.
I'm not confident about this
Oh,
at
wait.
all. But
Oh, what? Also, Ryan, you should leave so we can make room for our game show host.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
Bye, Ryan.
See you
Bye,
guys.
Ryan. She's leaving now. Bye, Ryan.
why'd you walk across the fucking
See you
table?
tomorrow.
You psycho.
What are you, a Foley artist?
All right. Hey, host is here.
You
Welcome.
counted down in your head. I watched it. You know,
2, 3.
Yeah. Nose one. Wayne's World.
exactly.
So, we're playing Graphic Design Jeopardy because I don't know if anybody's done it before, but I'm curious. I'll get very little right. I think Marcus will get quite a bit right, and I think Miles will get anything that any kind of like theory that he learned in the IDEA program.
Yes.
What's the IDEA program?
That's right.
Listening skills, motherfucker. He'll get a lot of those right. So, I want to welcome our host, Saliks Trebek.
it's me.
Saliks.
She didn't want to be a dick.
What an,
Yeah.
what
You
an
don't want to be
exotic
phallic
name.
They're
Trebek?
trying to make me be phallic. Yeah.
Phallic Trebek. That was well, you know what? Let's move on.
You're making me feel a little uncomfortable. And there's a lot of masculine energy in the room
Yeah,
already.
be an ally. Be an ally, Marcus.
All women are liars.
Oh, wow.
No, that's something I messaged Ryan today.
Yeah, it's true.
She's not in the room. She can't confirm it because
No.
this is Saliks Trebek.
It is. It's me, Saliks Trebek.
So let's do a quick opening song for Jeopardy. And
Does Jeopardy have an opening song?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
all right. And nose one.
Can't do this before we're making eye contact. Okay. Dun, dun.
It's not love making.
We should all sing it.
Okay, yeah, I think everybody should feel more comfortable if
Okay.
everybody sang it. Okay, ready?
On 3, nose, 2, 1.
You're both just shaking your heads.
Just waiting to jump in. Waiting for my moment.
Dun, dun, dun,
And
dun.
all right.
All right, welcome to Graphic Design Jeopardy.
Thank you, Saliks Trebek.
I'm your host, Saliks Trebek. Let's see what's on the board this evening.
Well, we can see it.
All right, Ben. I'm going to still...
Let's read what's on the
think
board.
maybe just let
We're the
them
only
judge
ones who
us.
can see it.
So our categories tonight are web design, graphic design, typography, page layout, and color. And as Miles is our guest, I'll let him choose first.
Hold on,
Oh, man.
Saliks.
I'm hosting. The contestant doesn't get
Quit
to...
fucking about. we should go over the rules a bit because I had to remind myself.
Okay.
Is that we can't answer or give the question to the answer or whatever until it's been fully read.
Okay.
And now is a great time to establish, I think Marcus has his,
No, I've
because
changed
we
it.
don't,
I've changed it to
something more offensive?
no.
No.
Impossible. I just changed it again in my head.
All right, so
boy.
because we're a low budget program, we don't have sound effects, so we're going to create them with our very own mouth holes. So, Marcus, what is your buzzer noise?
Horse.
He seems
Bold.
confident. Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone with a soft consonant to begin with. I would have gone something hard, but that's fine. Your other one it had a hard consonant on the front.
Yeah, it was queef,
It was rough.
Ew.
but I've changed it to horse.
Same thing. Okay, Miles.
I
do
think
you think?
I'm just gonna make the air horn sound. I'm
So
gonna go air air.
Hey,
Oh, that's pretty
That was
good.
really good.
Yeah.
All right, and mine will be barf.
Okay.
Hard consonant.
All right.
And I just like that scene in Spaceballs. What's your name? Barf. Not here you don't, pal. No, that's my name. I'm a Mog.
Is it okay? To continue, or do you wanna-
Yeah, it's
Yeah?
okay.
Okay.
So yeah,
Do I have
Saliks, take it away.
Alex take it away? All right. As Miles is our guest tonight, I'm going to let him choose the first category.
Oh man.
Does this thing have double jeopardies too?
We do have, yeah. The next one is called Double Jeopardy, but
Yeah.
by title only, not by any dollar value.
Or sound.
No,
You don't
There's a
get
ba-doo, ba-doo, pew, pew, pew.
You guys should be doing this. I think Miles should be doing this.
No, it's Saliks Trebek's job.
I should have been drinking beer with Miles.
I'm gonna say let's do Saliks. Let's do typography 5.
All right. So, the principle that makes type easy to read on a dark background. I'm going to say barf. I'm going to say barf.
Is it contrast? No.
I believe that needs to be in the form of a question there.
What is
does.
contrast?
Oh man.
All right. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
Ding, ding, ding.
motherfucker.
500 to match.
500. Oh, thank
And
you,
you've got control of
Saliks.
the board now.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you're welcome for that one.
what is contrast? Well, that's what I just said. Oh no, I'm realizing I know very little about technical terms or anything. Saliks, let's go web design for 100, please.
All right. The group you want to design your site for.
Air.
The air horn, please.
What is a client?
No. Anybody else want to buzz in?
Barf.
Barf.
The users.
Kind of, but
clients?
could we get? And you're not making your answer in a form of a
Oh,
question.
what are users?
No, it's not correct.
Horse.
Okay, horse.
I'm only hearing
A
quickie.
cautious horse
Nay.
from Marcus.
I like name better.
Sugar. What is sugar cube?
What is the consumer?
Close, but no cigar. The correct
It's the
answer is
customer's
what
side.
is the target market?
Wow.
This is so subjective. Whoever thought of this
This is
is
horse shit.
fucking idiot.
Hey.
You retain control of the board.
All
Matt.
right. Because we all did so good, Saliks, I will do web design for 200, please.
This is the feature used to navigate throughout a site.
Barf.
Barf, you're fast.
The menu. I was gonna say navigation, but
Interesting.
Ooh, that's
Nay.
incorrect.
Nay.
Nay.
What is
no, you have to say
navigation?
horse.
I changed it. I'm a shapeshifter. What is the navigation?
Very, very close. I'll give you that. It's the navigation bar or link.
This is old.
Wow.
Link
Okay.
from Zelda.
This is
Follow me
Was it
to the about page.
Was it 200?
That was.
And no, this is dollars that we get?
It's dollars that you get.
No, it is back rubs from me.
Did you record your score?
Are we
They
counting?
are-
Are we
yes,
counting?
They are nude and rude.
Are we counting negative money? Like if we
Oh,
we didn't answer correctly.
Yes,
or-
we can do that.
Uh-oh.
But we haven't done it yet, so we'll start now.
no,
No?
I'm being an honest boy, and
Yeah.
I will take my. I'm down
Yeah,
to
I'm
300.
not going to
minus
bother
100 now.
scoring because it won't.
No, we're just doing it personally
Yeah, it goes
on
by
a paper
200.
style. Paper.
Okay.
All right.
perfect. All right. Well, horse.
Oh, right.
Nay.
Nay will select page layout for 400.
Oh, this is
For
going to be weird.
400.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. This principle is used when we group related elements together.
Barf.
Yes. Matt.
Never mind.
Okay, so you have
That's
to... you have to-
minus 400.
No, I was going to do. I was going to do a.
You can't
I was
barf
gonna do
here.
an
Oh,
answer that
there's
was
so
funny in
many
my
air
head.
horns.
Yeah, okay, Aaron.
What is hierarchy?
Okay. Also, you need to take the points off.
No, because mine was just going to be a joke one that I aborted
Nope,
because
I'm sorry.
it had to do with civil rights and it's not okay.
All right, I'm sorry, that's not the correct answer.
Damn it! God damn it!
Anybody else want to buzz in? Horse, I'm looking at you.
This is so dumb.
See, now I know the joke that you were going for. No, I'm not buzzing in. I don't want to lose 400
No,
points.
screw
Boop,
this.
boop, boop. The principle is, what is proximity?
Yeah, I mean, I
Is it?
guess. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's actually going better than I thought it would. I'm getting,
You know
into
what?
it.
I'm going to do web design for $300.
300. The feature used to help find specific information on a site.
Barf.
I'm going to say it was air horn.
Ooh. What is the search feature?
That's correct. $300 for Miles.
Oh, there's got to be some like stupid place to drink in San Francisco called the Search Bar.
Oh,
The search bar.
Marcus is writing it down.
Stolen ideas from Matt. Document. Gonna lock that away.
Miles, you have control of the board.
Stolen amazing ideas from.
I'm gonna go big again. I'm gonna go graphic design for 500.
All right.
Oh, that's
Saliks.
a category. All right, 500.
It's pretty broad.
This is the last step in the design process before publishing a site.
Barf.
Oh my god.
Quality assurance.
Nope.
Yeah, it is.
This was for 500?
500, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking.
In the
I-
design
it's
process.
negative. That's a big one.
Nay.
Okay, horse.
What is approval?
Ooh, so close, but no, it's a step before publishing. But I think you're right.
That is technically the last step.
I think that's technically the last step as well, but that's not the answer we're looking for.
I would like to use my
unfortunately.
challenge card.
I'd like to phone a friend.
Miles, do you want to give it a shot?
I don't.
No? Okay.
I'm just gonna say for my own thought, happiness, sign off.
No, you know what? You can reveal the answer. It's proofing, which I think you're wrong. I think approval.
I was gonna say
yeah,
that.
you would proof it before you'd submit it for approval, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't.
So I get the points then. Thanks. That's
I think you deserve the points.
Oh, nay.
great.
Okay, Nate, back at it.
I'm gonna take web design for 400,
Okay.
please.
We use these throughout the text in a web page to help search engines bring up our site quicker.
Barf. Oh, you got it.
What are meta tags?
Oh, you're so wrong.
That's correct.
What?
Keywords.
No, those are
and-
keywords.
There's keywords or metadata.
Meta tags go in the meta tags in the code.
Gotcha,
Well, it
bitch.
doesn't- it's metadata.
Now I'm a bitch.
It's
How much?
damn it.
How much was that? What was that worth?
That one was worth
$1.
No, it was worth 400.
Oh boy.
Miles, you
Oh, crud. Hold on. I gotta.
Okay.
I've seen some bullshit in my
See, I would have said SEO
we use these.
in the text words.
SEOs.
How many
Yeah.
SEOs for this one?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Let's
again?
use 8.
We use these throughout the text in a web page.
I
That's
charge.
what we
words.
I
use
charge
our
for the
process.
SEOs.
Per SEOs.
Yeah, I think that's a weirdly worded question. I agree. All right.
I'm gonna say. I'm feeling sassy. I'm gonna go Saliks. I'm gonna go color for 500.
All right. Color for 500. The most important principle to consider when applying color to type.
Oh.
Whoa,
Barf.
whoa.
Oh, he did it before I was done reading
Yeah,
the
barf,
question.
barf.
Okay, barf.
Oh, nah.
You can't joke answer.
No.
The rest.
No, I second guess my actual answer, but I'm just going to go for it. Readability?
I'll give you that. It's what is contrast or legibility.
Again, contrast again. Wow.
Look who is.
I mean, this is rigged, but-
What was that? 500?
I mean,
That was 500.
Oh, somebody's in the positive again.
All right.
Half glass full. Motherfucker. Wow, I got really lucky on that one. So I will go to web design for 500 because I'm feeling bad.
All right, to finish out the category, these functions or features can be annoying to a user and should be used sparingly.
Nay.
Okay, horse.
Wheels that you have to spin to win a prize.
That's probably it.
No.
I mean, it is a correct answer.
Sure. It's not what we're looking for, unfortunately.
What is a pop-up?
No.
Barf.
Yes.
What are animations?
Kind of. This is a really outdated question. Miles, you want to give it a shot before we show the answer?
No, I'm in the black, so I'm going to keep quiet on
Alright,
this one.
So we've talked about this already today on the podcast, but flash music or autoplay.
Oh, Matt, there you go.
Could be animation.
Okay.
No, that's a... No.
No.
I'm not saying I got it, but I'm
gonna
saying
okay.
it's talking about a specific technology that nobody uses anymore.
Yes.
I will say, music on a website, I agree.
I hate it.
I
So
think
soothing.
it's an odd choice, unless
it's
it's the point of it.
But this gives away when this was made.
Yeah. It's pretty, yeah.
Great.
Last week. All right.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
Oh shit! I got that wrong. Oh, I'm back in. Damn it.
But you still have control over the board.
Yeah, well, who wants it? Graphic design 100. This is broad and cheap.
Type color images.
True. Oh, I want to get so bad, but I'm doing so poorly.
Nay.
Okay, horse.
What are components of a website?
Well, this
No,
is,
we're in
this is
graphic
design. is the category.
Fuck.
Don't ask me. I'm just a horse.
What is art?
You were close if you didn't say web design. Miles, you want to give it a go?
I saw the answer, so
Oh, did
no.
you? Okay.
All right then.
It's, yeah.
What?
Elements of
I was
graphic
gonna
design.
say elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
To back up so you can't
Oh,
say.
for fuck's sake.
I know. I'm just gonna. I'll turn away.
The fix is in. All right. I'll do graphic design for 200, Saliks.
All right. Alignment, balance, margins, proximity, hierarchy.
I'm so nervous now because I'm negative.
Boop, boop, boop. That means you're out of time. I like that. Principles of graphic design.
No.
Way to go, school guy.
Another good idea that you can write down. Principles of graphic design about sassy principles of a graphic design school. In the vein of Saved by the Bell.
You don't have multiple principles.
Yeah.
You do here because it's like 3 Men and a Baby.
Okay. What if it's a show where it's a school and there are 3 principals that are trying to win the principalship of the school, and they have to compete against each other, and the students have to vote?
There you go.
Make that show. Somebody make that show.
Also, as
That's
an
a free
aside, Mr. Belding, did he come out as like a child toucher or something?
No, but you definitely, looking at him, you would have thought that was going to happen.
I thought there was a thing.
Ferris
No.
Bueller guy.
No.
Ferris
Yeah.
Bueller
Yeah.
principal
Principal
for
there.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought Belding had a little smudge on his permanent record.
I don't think so. He got super fat, though. Like, he's gigantic.
What?
Sludge
He
smudge
used to be
meaning.
such a sweet piece. Too.
Abuse.
All right. So I still have control?
Sure.
Nope. Graphic design 300.
All right. Let's give this a go. The process of putting preliminary ideas on paper.
Here.
Okay, Eric.
What is brainstorming?
Clip clop. Clip
Okay.
clop.
Orsi.
What are concepts? Oh, for fuck's sake. That is the goddamn right answer, and you know it.
The process. The
Oh,
process.
Didn't read it.
No.
Didn't listen.
Matt, you want to listen?
Barf.
Okay, barf.
What is sketching?
Ding, 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 ding.
what? Who's a genius?
Rigged.
It's me. Was that only 300?
It was
That's
300.
okay.
Yeah.
Someone's in the positive again. Digging myself out of the hole. I'm going to do color for 100, Saliks, please.
Okay. The color mode used in web design or any on-screen application.
Barf.
Clip.
Wow.
RGB.
I didn't say it was you.
It's clear it was.
Okay.
It
is
It actually
RGB.
was
Yeah.
clear. Yeah.
Scolding.
And that means really good buttons. And that is computer.
Really good buttons.
Nice buttons. All right, since I'm doing okay at this one, let's do color for 200, Saliks.
What tool is used to sample a color from an image?
Barf.
Air.
Ooh, wow.
Air.
What is an eyedropper tool?
That is absolutely correct, Miles.
Oh
He even said
for
tool.
$200.
Wow.
College boy.
And control.
Are you
of the
listening,
board.
Mom? I learned something. That's cool.
Your pick.
Oh boy, I'm gonna say let's do typography for 4.
Oh no.
3 ways to add visual hierarchy to type.
Barf.
Okay, barf.
Sizes. What are sizes? Different sizes.
Okay, but 3 ways.
Not,
Do you have to specify all
not
3?
3 ways to answer this question.
Math is hard.
Okay. What are size, typeface, and color?
I'll give
Just
that to
say
you.
it.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. Definitely. It's weight or font, color, and size.
Yeah.
It was $400 to Matt and control of the board.
Such a lucky boy. Page layout for 100 Saliks. I don't know anything about this.
The use of this visual tool helps us keep the design elements organized and aligned.
Barf.
Ooh, that was close. It was barf though.
Damn it.
What is a grid, Saliks?
That's absolutely
Fucking-
correct.
yeah,
Grids
it is.
or margins.
I don't know what the other.
I want everyone listening to know that I knew that one too.
I was
fair.
going to say folders, so.
Trapper keeper.
All right, barf.
What is Command G?
Barf wants typography for 100 Saliks.
Okay. Includes all the various typefaces or weights in a type family.
I would have called it a type family.
Yeah, that's what that is.
It is font. What is a font?
that, but I was like, it can't be font, and it was.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There you go.
That's what it is.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right, you still
Nothing
have
gained,
control of the
nothing
board.
lost. Typography for 200 Saliks. Sorry,
You
I'm
did.
jumping ahead.
You did. The font type best suited for websites: serif or sans serif.
Barf.
I also said
You
barf.
did say barf.
That's 2 for me. Definitely
I gotta
mine.
give it to him. Yeah.
What is a sans serif, Saliks?
That is absolutely correct.
And shout out to Miles for the additional barf.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's 200 to Matt and control of the board.
I would say controversial decision by the part of this Jeopardy game. I
It's
mean,
true.
you know, that's up for debate, I would say.
It's true. Back before there was Retina, definitely sans serif. Now anything kind of look nice.
Yeah.
I'm feeling dumb, so page layout for 200 Saliks. Please and thank you very much.
The principle which helps us visually organize information from the most important to the least important. All right, Aaron.
I mean, what is hierarchy?
That's what I would have said.
That's absolutely correct.
Oh,
For
yes.
We can split the points if you
No.
want. All right. You don't want to, and that's fine.
Was that 400?
It was 200.
Oh, that's not as cool, though.
Yeah. It's half as cool.
Yeah.
I wish there was easy division for 500.
I'm going to go big again. Yeah, page layout for 5.
All right. The creative use of this principle helps give a design visual breathing space.
Clip clop.
Barf. Oh, clip clop in
Clip
the
clop.
house.
I forgot you were here, Clip Clop.
What is white space?
Absolutely correct.
Fantastic.
That's great. For 500.
Of course,
Jeez.
he gets the.
He's
white
back.
Ooh.
You've been keeping
Because
close
I'm
to the
from
vest.
Japan. Is that why?
one. Dublin, Japan.
All right. Marcus has control over the board.
Color for 400.
Okay. The major consideration when choosing a color scheme for a website.
Man. Aaron,
Aaron.
I mean, what is contrast?
No.
Barf.
Yes, sorry.
What is the brand? Brand standards?
Ooh.
I'll give you that. It's who
Okay.
is the target market or what are the corporate colors?
Yeah. Although that was fair, Miles. I feel like half of these answers have been contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, hierarchy or contrast.
Yeah.
Are you listening, people who made this
It's like
Jeopardy tool?
guessing a bunch of C's on a Scantron. You probably get at least 50%
Yeah.
on the test.
We're QAing your Jeopardy tool for you right now.
All right. Matt will take graphic design for 400 Saliks.
Okay. The first step in the website design process.
Oh, this is so goddamn subjective.
Oh,
Exactly.
Of course,
I think I
shit about this.
get the deposit. Fuck, I don't know.
A signed contract.
Like, I know what I would do first, but I'm not risking it.
I think I could answer this.
I'm in too deep.
All right.
I would have said information architecture.
I would have said a discovery session.
Yeah, but I think it's taking none of this has been client centric.
Okay, that's true.
I'm trying to
yeah.
think like the webmaster that created this.
So
fucking thing.
wireframes and site mapping is already done by this point. This is just the first step in the design process. What is getting to know your client and their product? I was right.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right. Typography 300 Saliks.
All right.
Wrap up round one.
We increased this.
Almost.
We increased this between lines of text to create more white space.
Barf.
Barf.
What is letting?
That's absolutely correct.
Oh, it feels good. Oh, I'm getting so cocky. I'm going to blow it so hard.
Oh.
No, you fucking. All right, page layout for 300 Saliks.
Okay. The best file formats for photos used in a web page.
Okay, we all have to consider
Okay,
when
yeah.
these
This is-
answers and questions were created.
Raw.
Is it 256 color GIF, non-transparent?
Did you buzz in, Marcus?
No.
No.
Because raw would never be the correct answer.
We heard an
All
air
right,
horn.
Miles.
What is a GIF or GIF?
Really?
You
Clip
saying
clop.
that? You,
Clip
oh,
clop.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
clip
he's
clop. Yeah.
process of elimination. Now he's ahead 5 years, and he's going to say
What
JPEG.
is a JPEG?
Which, yeah, I think so. It's PNG and JPEG is what I'm going to guess.
Why?
No, but you have to check if his answer was right or not.
But I knew it was right. It's JPEG.
Oh, I see it here.
See, I was going to say,
PNGs are too big. You want to use JPEGs as much as you can unless there's transparency for site loading.
no.
So I only
For
use
clarity.
GIFs. I mean, I only ever use GIFs.
From pictures to peanut butter, we're a GIF family. And that's a funny joke about peanut butter. Marcus has control of the board, and there's one left.
Hey, that's my thing to say.
Oh, sorry, Saliks.
You're the mouthiest contestant.
I'm just trying to keep it alive.
Color for 3.
Color for 3. Colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel and give us the most contrast.
Clip clop.
Of course.
What are yin and yang?
Interesting choice. Very exotic answer.
Obviously, no. Anyone else?
Possible that they're wrong.
Everyone.
What are complementary colors?
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
And that ends round 1 of Jeopardy.
All right, let's fire up round 2.
All right.
We got to get to Final Jeopardy
Oh
before.
my god. So this episode's being broken up into 3 parts,
I was
right?
going to say, is this the longest episode?
No, sadly.
Oh.
We've had some doozies.
Yeah, that's true.
Round 2, getting professional podcast. Looks like this.
Well, I'll just go ahead and introduce the categories for round 2. We've got influential designers.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, wow. This is gonna
What
take
the
forever.
font, TV typography, logo history, and memes. Memes? Memes. Memes?
It's memes.
It's memes.
Right.
But it-
I just thought it was like French.
Which it is, but
It's insane. Yeah.
I love to read memes.
Royale with cheese.
All right. So
Well, I get that one.
Yeah.
I just
From
need
the
to.
Pulp Fiction. Who had control of the board at the end of the last one?
As is tradition in Jeopardy, the person with the lowest score starts in round 2.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I got 1,600. Hundo, as kids say.
Miles has 200. How much do you have, Marcus?
You
Like,
want-
you guys are both positive?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
then me.
Okay, then Marcus, you have control
I'm
of
just
the
looking
board.
at my numbers, and only like 2 of them are positive.
Okay.
I'm going to go
So yours is like the opposite of your HIV diagnosis? Your score's in the negative?
So I will take...
Wait, but is it if you have HIV, then
Then you're positive.
then you're positive?
You're positive you have to buy a lot of condoms.
Life lessons.
Don't stop living.
This segment's brought to you by Magic Johnson's.
Johnson.
Curable
Peppers.
AIDS.
Double up.
Wow.
Have AIDS but don't want them?
So-
Magic Johnson's curable AIDS.
Oh my god.
I will do memes for 500.
Memes for 500.
Still big.
You are the
I
internet.
thought these
master.
were supposed to be double the score, but
So
this is
did-
the same.
We're going to pretend that it's just fine how it is.
Boy.
Matt, I'm going to need you to pull that up on the screen, please.
Yep.
Name the artist who created this painting before it became a meme. Can you scroll down, Matt?
Oh,
There's more. It's a fat-headed boy, man, woman.
It's interesting.
It's Pumpkin
It says why, though, and it looks...
I've never seen this
Renaissance-y?
before.
I've seen it. I can't. I
Are you
don't know
gonna
who
buzz
painted
in?
it. No,
No?
I don't know who painted it though.
Matt or Miles?
Nothing.
No.
I would love to not answer that.
So that is Botero. B-O-T-E-R-O.
Classic Botero.
Classic
Mix 'em
Botero.
up.
Just on the tip of everyone's tongue.
right,
Well, that
Marcus.
category sucks. So
All right, Click Pop. What do you got?
logo history for 100 then.
Ooh,
For 100.
alright.
Name this tech company that has been removed from this logo.
Barf.
Click pop.
Barf.
Hewlett Packard.
Well, if
You
it was
are
in the
correct.
form of a goddamn question.
Who is
Oh,
it? The Hewlett Packard
That's a good
company.
point. I've been letting that slide. I'll be more careful.
I've been testing you, and you've been
I've been failing miserably.
failing me beautifully.
Oh. All right, Barf, you pick.
Barf wants a logo history for 200, Saliks.
Logo history for 200. Appearing in the early 1900s, this was the first logo of this company. Which this round isn't that much fun for people
It
listening.
looks
I'm just-
like a crude drawing of a shell from 80 feet away.
Yeah, it looks like a
Oh,
chrome
I do
hat.
know this. I have seen this before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Marcus or Miles?
Nothing.
Are you gonna try that?
To the listeners at home, yeah, it looks like a sand
Or
dollar.
like a limpid, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm gonna try to pretend that I knew the answer when nobody guesses.
Okay, it is shell.
Yeah,
It's shell.
I did know that.
Of course,
The
it's
gas
a
station.
shell.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I
That's
did
cool.
know that.
You know,
I didn't know that their gas stations were around for that long.
1900.
Hey, it's
Well,
good
I think
stuff.
we're all learning something today.
We're attempting. Logo history for 300, Saliks.
300. First appearing in the 1890s, this is the original logo of this company.
Barf.
All right, Barf.
General Electric.
That's a very scripty G and an E. I believe you're correct.
Wow.
Yes, GE or General Electric.
Mama like.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Mama got 2,000. School sucks, kids. Be a loser like me. Win a game that means nothing.
Okay, Barf.
Logo history for 400, please, Saliks.
This dragon is so extinct you wouldn't find it on a safari. It is the original logo of this tech-based company. This looks like a phoenix on fire to me.
But they call it a dragon.
They do call it a dragon.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. Do dragon have beak?
It has beak and pretty eye.
do dragon.
They have beak and pretty eye.
Man,
Anybody gonna chime in?
these are deep cuts.
Chick-fil-A?
Boop, boop, boop. Let's find out. Firefox.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
looks like...
they kind of went the other way with that one, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's interesting they called it a dragon when the company's called Firefox, and
It's-
it's clearly a phoenix.
It's also interesting that they call that a logo because it's clearly a doodle or
Hey.
like a kid's tattoo, a stick-on tattoo.
But Miles, shout out to the GIF. That's a crudely transparent GIF.
all hail the GIF.
All right, let's
Alright.
do worse at logo history for 500, please, Saliks.
Okay, for the final question in this category, originating in 1907, this company is something to snap about. Which is not a saying, by the
Circle
way.
with an EKC is like a monogram in it.
Yeah. EKC, something to snap about.
I think it has something to do
man.
with a commercial
Enthusiastic Klansman
Oh.
capes.
that they put out a while ago. I'm not going to answer
No?
it.
Okay.
No, but
Oh, this one's tough.
I'm also not going to answer it, but I'm going to say that EKC stands for Electric Kaleidoscope Company.
I bet you're right.
And
I
I'm
bet
gonna
it's some
say
sort of
that this is
camera.
polar. I'm going to say what is Polaroid?
Oh, okay. You didn't bit.
Air.
Er.
What is Polaroid?
Ooh, I was going to say Kodak, and it's Kodak.
Damn it.
The bear.
It's the K.
I take it back.
The Kodak's not a bear.
Kodiak is.
Yeah. All right.
So
All right.
confident.
That's
So
all-
confident.
that was
in-
so
Wow.
good.
Matt stole some
That was
Polaroid.
like-
Jesus.
1 for 5. I thought I was like, oh, that was going to be easy.
What was that? Was that one for,
Logo history.
Logo history.
That one is a
for
nightmare.
400 or?
For that one was for 400. Yes.
Yeah. 500.
Oh no, 500. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
All right.
All right. So Matt.
Saliks, I'll do TV typography for 100, please.
All right. Another visual clue, I think.
Barf.
Oh, all right. Barf, I know this too.
The Office.
It is.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is the answer the show or is it the typeface?
Oh, but that.
That's what we don't know
Even
about
if
this
that's
category.
the same typeface, it's the wrong weight for the show because it looks like Helvetica, but it's like regular. All right. Well, I guess we'll find out.
All right. Matt, you retain. It is.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Nice.
audience.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it
it's
is
the
the
show.
show.
All right.
Nice.
Ooh.
Michael Scott, give me strength.
All right.
TV typography for 200, Saliks.
All right. Okay. Again, a visual clue.
I see what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Clip clop.
Here.
Yeah. Clip clop wins.
What is Breaking Bad?
That's absolutely correct. This isn't the most compelling category for
So-
for audio.
So it's the Breaking Bad font.
Yeah, to the listeners,
So,
they
we
are
also need-
spelling television with the different fonts.
that is true.
We also need to get some kind of indication of when we can chime in. Because we're just like politely looking around like, we don't know it. Should we say anything? Because,
Because when I'm done reading, you can chime in.
But what are you reading?
I see what you're saying.
You're reading like it's some sort of typeface. I don't know. It's like,
Good. Oh.
when does this come to a logical conclusion?
You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. Just give me a chance. I can redeem this.
Right.
All right. Clip clop.
TV typography,
Sorry.
300.
Yep.
Okay.
Saliks.
So I'm opening this up and
Saddle.
Okay, we're taking different
Oh, a
horse
new one there.
adjectives,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What is Friends?
it is.
We also didn't work out when we would chime in.
No, he did not give me a chance to try that.
Shout out to Clip Clop for a loophole. In
Oh
the
shit!
show
I'm not
notes.
even writing these down. What was the Breaking Bad? Two?
2.
Two.
Right.
All right.
I'm in the
All right.
green.
So
Okay, Clip
for
Clop.
the next 2
Okay.
in this category, how do we know when we can go?
As soon as it comes up, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as soon as it comes out.
All right.
So I'm gonna do TV typography for 400.
Okay.
Here.
Oh,
This is fantastic. What is Jeopardy, Saliks?
That's absolutely correct.
Yes. So meta. Oh my god. How much was that one worth?
That one was
4.
400. And Miles, you've got control of the board now.
I'm going to do TV typography for 500.
All right, to finish up the category, go.
Here.
All right, Miles.
What is Game of Thrones?
Ooh, there you go. Yep, that's
Show
absolutely
Matt
right.
doesn't watch.
Yes.
It
Yes.
looks like the People's Jewelry font.
Also,
almost.
Yeah, it could be a jewelry store.
For listeners, I can't believe that Tyrion's gay and that Daenerys was a robot. Like that was crazy. You know, the finale, that was nuts. Anyways, I'll just sort of leave that there.
I thought they were both gay robots.
Yeah. All right, Miles, you can pick again.
is that where the GoBots came from?
Yep.
Gay robots?
Yeah.
They were the opposite of the Transformers.
Yeah.
I see what's happening here.
Optimus Prime was all man. He knew what he wanted. She-Ra.
I'm gonna say, let's say what the font for 500, Saliks.
Oh, you're a deep diver.
Yeah. Okay, these are all visual clues. So these are used in various shapes and
Barf.
forms. Barf, yes.
What is Helvetica?
No.
It kind of is.
Air.
All right, Aaron.
What is universe?
That's absolutely right.
I should have scrolled down because, yeah, that is...
That's
Yep.
for 500 points to Miles, and he retains control of the board.
No, I don't like that.
I'm gonna say what the font for 4.
Okay. This is a
Barf.
Okay. Barf.
Futura.
Ooh,
What is Futura?
That's correct.
nice.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
It is a circle.
Oh,
A
that
distinctive
was-
circle.
400 points to Matt, and you take control of the board.
I get a monies for that one. All right. Take that. Again, education is not important, children. Influential designers for 100. I just want us to never get one of these.
Okay. Another visual clue. So this is a bunch of different.
Oh, you have to read the thing.
Oh,
You have to get to
Oh,
the
I
end.
didn't. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
see that. Sorry.
Okay.
This designer often worked with Alfred Hitchcock and was the first person to design opening titles for movies.
Barf.
Whoa! You guys all did that at the same time. Okay.
do it twice,
in
barf.
No, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
wait, what's happening?
You get it. You guys can buzz in again because you guys did it all at the same time. Okay, I'll do that again.
No,
No, because we'll just do it at the same time again.
I
because
know.
we're all. Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
All right. All right. So, okay. How about this? On a count of 3.
deserves it
On
most?
a
Miles.
count of 3, we all say the name, and if you get it right, you get 100 points.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Saul Bass.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, there you go.
She said, "Ding, ding, ding," because we're each a ding.
So who retains control of the board then? I think Miles gets it because he actually made the noise first.
That was me.
Alright.
All right. Nope. Miles can do it.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna say memes for 100.
Okay.
Let's just switch it up.
Memes for 100. Name the typeface used in this meme.
Kabarf. Oh, you got it.
What is papyrus, Saliks?
Oh,
yeah.
could we get a pronunciation on that one?
What is papyrus,
Yeah.
Saliks?
It's like a papaya that everyone hates. And papaya is also gross.
Papaya is great.
So anything that goes papaya, just avoid completely. All right.
All right, Miles.
Okay, let's do memes again for 2.
For 200, name the movie that this quote is from. You can't sit with us.
Barf.
All right, barf.
I don't know at all if this is right, but what is Mean Girls?
Yeah, you're absolutely
Fuck.
correct. I didn't
Eat
know
it, Lindsay Lohan. I'm now more successful and I have more money than you.
Wow.
Oh
She's
shit,
got a
was that
beach
200?
club. Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that just watching her die on the beach?
Yeah. No, maybe.
Like a beached woman. I am going to do influential designers for 200 Saliks.
Okay. This designer was known for breaking the rules and for designing for Ray Gun magazine.
I think I know, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's wrong.
Horsey?
Hey, Clip Clop, you're awful quiet over there.
That usually means I don't know what the fuck the answer is.
Okay.
It's not just a tactic.
All right, that's David Carson.
If he founded Juxt Interactive in the early 2000s, then in my head I was right. And I will take that as a personal victory.
All right.
All right,
Back over to
influential
Miles.
designers for 300 Saliks.
Nice.
Yeah, I lost track there. All right. This designer is known for her work designing 17 and Charm magazines.
Oh, I don't even know why I'm saying it might come to me. I don't know. I do not know this.
Nothing.
Boop, boop, boop. It is, I don't know how to say this. Sippy Pinelli's?
It's a great killer name.
Benelli's.
Sippy
All right,
Pinelli's.
all right. Influential designers for 400, please. Saliks.
Okay. As a partner at Pentagram, this designer helped to create the FedEx and Citibank logo redesigns. You can learn more about her on the Netflix series Abstract.
Clippy clop.
Who is Paula Shear?
That's absolutely right.
Paul Shear from How Did This Get
The
Made?
lead.
Ruxin's friend? All right. Miles is up.
Miles, you're up.
Let's close it out. Let's do influential designers for 500.
Awesome. His most iconic work of art has stood the test of time, but was also changed after 9/11, seen here to reflect the current political state of our nation. And it is that I love New York more than ever. Okay.
This is tough because there are 2 people that I think this could be, and I forget the second person's name. I'm going to say Seymour. Who is Seymour Schwast?
Oh, nope.
Oh,
Anybody
I
else
knew
wanna
it.
buzz in?
I knew it.
No. This is where traditional schooling pays off because he at least had a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say Seymour Butts.
Seymour Schwast married to Paula Shear.
Marcus?
Who is Milt?
He wasn't going to get it.
Oh, okay. Good
If
job.
Miles doesn't get it, we're fucked.
All right, Miles, you can pick again.
5 questions left.
Let's see here. Let's do what the font for 100.
Clues left.
What the font for 100? Oh, you're ahead of me there.
What is Helvetica?
Absolutely correct.
Yes.
All right.
That was my guess for the wrong one.
Yes. All right, Miles.
Let's do it again. 200.
200 at what the font? Miles.
What is Cooper Black?
That's absolutely right.
It is Cooper Black.
It's 70s t-shirt font.
Love
It's
it.
vote for Pedro.
This is my wheelhouse, baby.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Okay, to close out the category, what the font for 300? Yes, Miles.
What is Bedoni?
No. Marcus or Matt?
Badonkadonk. I believe it's a serif typeface in the color of black.
I'm going to go back to horse.
Okay.
What is Georgia?
No. Matt, do you want to give it a go?
I would sure not like to.
It's a pretty common font. Times New Roman.
That was the other choice.
Yeah.
Rare, obscure font.
What was that dumb question for?
Oh.
200 or something?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
300.
It was 300, yeah. All right. So
You can also play this at home, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope
Go to
you're all playing along.
worstdesignshow.com and we'll post all these horrible Jeopardy puzzle things. There's a whole site that has like
Just a mini
400
stroke.
of them, and some of them are so specific to people like that made them that it'd be like, what's my favorite font? And you have to guess and see if you can get it right. It's fun.
All right. Who has control of the board right now? Is it Miles still?
Miles still does.
Me.
Cool.
I'm going to say let's do memes for 400.
400. Fill in the blanks clockwise, and it's Ariel in various states of disarray.
And what are we answering?
So I'm thinking this is going to be design related.
There's something that's been blanked out. Oh, Aaron. Oh.
Okay, Miles.
What is clockwise?
Yes.
Interesting. So there's Ariel. There's Ariel Bold.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's Ariel Black, I'm assuming. And then I
Wow.
think there's Ariel Thin.
So right.
I would. All right.
Okay, I think you probably, Ariel Bold, Ariel Italic.
No,
Oops, sorry.
he said thin.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna guess.
I missed.
Oh!
He's Italy. It's Ariel, the Little Mermaid, with a curly, very stereotypical mustache.
This is also kind of racist
This
as well.
whole thing is very
yeah.
racist. I feel like we should, in Miles's defense, maybe put a picture of this up. Yeah.
Sounds like Matt picked this one.
Just as a side note, I wouldn't have guessed on this one.
No.
I'm sad I did.
All right, to finish out the board, we've got memes for 300.
All right.
Cool. There's nothing
There we
wrong.
go. That took a while to load. I guess this is another fill in the
Barf.
blank one. Okay, barf.
Put? What is put? If I were to type, I would put you and I closer together.
Is that what you want to stick with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't change your answer in Jeopardy.
I know, I was just checking.
What is
Okay,
put?
no, that's not
I
right.
feel like there's some.
Oh,
There you go.
so stupid. Never mind.
Yeah.
What is Kern?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. All right, that's the end of round 2.
Karen, it's like evil corn. All right, coming up right now because of stuff. We're going to be doing Final Jeopardy right now because this is actually taking a long time to get through. We should have done one game in hindsight, but
All right.
hindsight sucks.
I get to be in charge of picking this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring up the whole board, and then Ryan will...
You mean Saliks?
Saliks.
No, Ryan will be in a second to dab my forehead because it's very warm, and then Saliks Trebek will choose the thing.
All right. I'm going to go with printing for 500.
Okay, so with this one, after Saliks reads the clue and does the song, we have to. So we have to bet first.
Yeah, you just have to write down how much
You
you're
have to
going to
look at
bet.
your total. You have to say how much you'll wager. Then Saliks reads the clue, and then after a beautiful song, during it we'll write down our answers, our questions, and then see who's what.
That's right. So the category again is printing.
And squeaky Sharpie is good audio.
All right.
All right.
Everybody have their wagers locked in?
Yep.
Okay.
Printing for 500?
Yes.
Or the
Oh, it
printing,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Printing, yeah. So, what century was the first printing press made?
The Buick century.
Boom, boom.
Oh,
There's another verse on there.
I
That was
know.
literally half as long as the
You
actual
forgot.
Okay.
You forgot the chorus and Jesus.
Yeah.
The credit.
When the beat drops, you forgot that part.
Yeah.
The dubstep.
Okay, so we
Alright.
start
Does
with
everybody have their answer?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
we start with who's lowest.
Yep. Who is lowest? I don't. Marcus is.
I had 500.
You had 500. Miles.
I also had 500.
All right, and you had.
2,500.
Oh, look how smug you are.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
You sure you did your math right?
Yep. I crossed things out, wrote bigger numbers.
That's not how it works. You
Alright.
get minus.
Well, I feel like, Horse, you had a little bit of a struggle there for a bit, so we'll let you go first.
Off to the glue factory.
I wrote 10th,
10th. All right.
and my wager was burrito or $1.
Yeah, you get a burrito for $1.
Well, depending on where you go, yeah.
Was that right or was that wrong?
Well, I wish that I could tell you. We may have to do this again. Press the space bar and. What?
Huh?
Exactly.
It's
Right.
multiple choice.
But then there's no. How do you get the answer? Do I have to press it again?
Oh, so we
No.
Nope.
Should we choose then?
there's
We should each choose
There's
one.
no right answer. I think we should do another.
There is.
You think you got it, don't you?
No, I definitely did.
Okay,
not
so
get it.
we're gonna do this again. And
I got dead between the 15th and 17th century.
Yep.
16th.
I will sing the whole song. This time we're gonna go to.
What's the whole song?
Well, I'll do
There's
the
another
other
verse. There's a
I
key
got to
change.
hold. You got to hold. All right.
Well, what's that whole? We just saw that on SNL. The whole song.
Close holes.
Close holes. Close are just holes.
Yeah, right in the microphone.
All right. Designers is gonna be the category. So please
Okay.
make your wagers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. I'll.
Just gonna stick with my burrito wage.
I'm just gonna check to make sure this one has an answer before I subject you guys to my singing again.
All right. And singing.
No, it
maybe.
doesn't. These are all multiple choice and they don't have answers.
This is
No.
this
Yeah.
is
Oh.
insane.
But.
Oh wow.
All right.
You really checked these questions before?
Oh, I did check the answers because I
No.
didn't want to.
Okay, let's just check that one to see
Font
if it has an
syllabus for
answer. Otherwise,
500.
we'll just go into a different. No.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can we just declare Matt the winner?
I think that's probably
for the best. What
pretty
did you
safe
wager?
to say. I wagered all of my money,
All of your money.
which would get me
alright.
to 1,000.
So,
All
I
right.
guess, so the conclusion is that you don't need to go to school.
Schools for losers.
Aw.
Thank you for listening. We will see you all 2 weeks and bye.